ship is operating water assigned to us for submerged operation by OpScan 48 Tech 18, verified by the Nav and myself. Sounding is 1385 fathoms beneath the keel and checks with chart. I have verified that my watch team is ready to submerge the ship. I intend to submerge the ship to 155 feet. Dive! Dive!
Machine with a need to bleed you when the light goes green. Best believe I'm in the zone to be. From a yin to my yang to Z. Put a grin on my chin when you come to me, cause I'll win, I'm a one of a kind, and I'll bring death to the place you're about to be. Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in the fire living long ago. Stand next to me, you'll never stand alone. I'm last to leave, but the first to go. Lord, make me dead before you make me whole. I feed on the fear of the devil inside of the enemy faces in my sight. Aim with a hand, shoot with a mind, kill with a heart like Arctic ice.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a warrior, this is my song.
I am a warrior and this is my song. I'm basking the glow of the rising war. Lay waste to the ground of an enemy shore. Wade through the blood spilled on the floor. And if another one stands, I'll kill some more. Bullet in the breach and a fire in me, like a cigarette thrown to gasoline. If death don't bring you fear, I swear you'll fear these marching feet. Come to the nightmare, come to me. Deep down in the dark where the devil be. In the mall where the jaws and the razor teeth, where the brimstone burns and the angel weeps. Call to the gods of across your path, and my silhouette hangs like a body bag. Hope is a moment now long past. The shadow of death is the one I cast. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song. My eyes are steel and my gaze is long. I am a warrior and this is my song.
We're not just going to shoot the bastard. We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the treads of our tanks. We're going to murder those lousy bastards by the bushel.
Now I live lean and I mean to inflict the grief, and the least of me is still out of your reach. The killing machine's gonna do a good deed until the river runs dry and my last breath leaves. Chin in the air with a head held high, I'll stand in the path of the enemy line. Feel no fear, know my pride. For God and country I'll enjoy life. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song. My eyes are steel and my gaze is long. I am a warrior and this is my song.
All right, now you sons of bitches. You know how I feel.
Man, I love that intro. Can't get over it. And he made me another one. I think even better than that one. Look, thanks for joining me tonight. This is Cash Jackson, and this is the War is Hell show, podcast, I don't know. But it's growing. My Patreon account's growing. Those of you who know that I'm gravitating over towards Patreon off of Facebook. Facebook has just, the censorship is atrocious, and I don't agree with a lot of what they've been doing. I think that they really abuse those of us who bring a lot of positive content and messaging and reform discussion we bring these things forward, and we see the censorship, and we don't appreciate it. And so we're going to do what the free market does, and we're going to go where we can invest in one another, and we get invested in return. Um, and there's people like me that are out there that are really fighting the fight to change this country. And look, it couldn't have been any more evident than something that happened to me today. I was headed over this morning to go to church with my brother and sister-in-law and nephews and niece here in northern Louisiana, and pretty rural, pretty damn rural where we're at. And on a very rural stretch there of highway, I passed a gentleman who was walking down the side of the road, and it was raining at the moment, and there was nothing out there in the direction he was going. I mean, there was nothing out there, and the rain was coming down pretty good. So I'm already running late for church. I'm going to be about 20 minutes late for church as it is, and I'm like, I got to go check on this guy. I got to go offer him a ride. I can't let this guy walk in the rain. And so I turn around, and now I've picked up a lot of hitchhikers. Ask Chris Cole. Chris Cole will tell you. I picked up 2 coming back from Tulsa and the Trump rally whenever we were over there. But anyways, I backtrack, and I pull up next to the guy, and I roll my window down, and I asked the guy. I said, "Hey man, would you you want to get a ride?" And the look on his face, told me everything I needed to know. He needed a ride, but he wasn't going to take one from me. And I think it was because I was white, man. He was black. And times are uncertain in this country, right? And in this region, through the South and other parts of the nation, there's still areas that are, very much polarized by race. And there's still a lot of mistrust and anger and hurt and pain towards one another. And at some point in time, that has to end. I asked this gentleman, I think 3 times, if I could, give him a ride, or just, let him sit in the truck, get out of the rain. He said his father was coming, but I don't know if maybe he was or not. I don't know. That his father was on his way to come pick him up. I don't know. But, it hurt me, for him and for myself and others like us, that I believe genuinely we want better for humanity. And we're trying to get out there, and we're trying to fight for that. We're trying to really, push change. And so there's this migration happening off of social media. People are jumping ship. They're leaving various platforms like Facebook, like Twitter. They are going over to Parler. And yeah, right now Parler has been more of an echo chamber, but it is the next step in the evolution of social media to get away from exactly what we've been seeing. And it's the censorship. It's the narrative, the crafting of the narrative, portraying that we're separate when we're not. We have to divest from all of these things, okay? I'm going to speak towards just the judicial system as it pertains to family law. No, I take that back. I'll probably even expand outwards. There is a war against us. There's a war happening against the American people. There is. You can't tell me that there's not. It begins with a basic premise that at some point in time, we found it moral in our society to tax a man's income and his home and his property. And under threat of force, a thinly veiled threat of force, the state threatens that if you don't pay, we take what's yours, what your labor produced. From the onset, it's immoral, right? You're born into an economic system that's predicated upon convincing a man he needs all of these material things, all of these fancy things to drive this consumerism revenue. And that which we produce is merely more for the larger corporate box stores. And we watch as our small businesses, underneath these restrictive and unconstitutional COVID measures, they're destroying small businesses, your neighbors. They're destroying them. Their life's work being driven into the dirt. I believe roughly 50% of all people are employed by small business. 50%. You can fact check that. I think that I'm close. And so this migration has to transpire. We have to move. My page stays inundated with messages, just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's messages coming in. People want me to call them. People want to meet me. And no, I'm not that important of a guy. I'm fucking not. I'm not. It's because there's so many people that are hurting. They're looking for any resource they can get to help them to relieve the pain that they're feeling at the hands of the state. And we're paying these attorneys. So we're funding the war. All of our money, all of our life savings, our children's life savings, their college funds, our pensions, our homes, our equity, our property, and they just latch onto it. They churn you up, and they just keep peeling and peeling and peeling and taking everything away from you that your family worked for, what you worked to build. They just strip it down in a matter of months until you're there barren with nothing. No children, no wife, no kids, no career, nothing. Stripped down and then made a slave to the state. We are slaves to the state. I'm going to say it. I'm not trying to diminish slavery and what happened to African Americans, but they reframed the business of slavery. They restructured it, is all that they did. They don't keep us on a physical plantation. The plantation is the United States. The land that we're on right now, the 13th Amendment didn't repeal slavery. It restructured slavery. Under threat of force, you can't argue this. If you don't pay your taxes, what happens? That's a threat. One set of men tells you, 16 years old, you get your first job. You're paying taxes. Taxation without representation. They can't vote, right? 16, 17-year-olds can't vote, but we tax them. That is taxation without representation. So why do we take taxes from 16 and 17-year-old kids? Am I wrong on that? I'm pretty certain that they pay into Social Security, right? That gigantic slush fund that government says is for you, says that you and your family and your children, your genealogy, your family tree, you people are too stupid to invest for yourselves. You people are too stupid to save for yourselves. We'll do it for you. We'll take your money from you. We'll put it over here, right? We'll throw it around in whatever investments we want to try and make money with it, paying ourselves more and more and more on your money, growing ourselves in our industry more and more and more on your money. We're funding the war on terrorism. That war is against the American people. It is immoral to tell a man to relinquish his property and whatever you want that money for, no matter how moral it is in your eyes, you cannot justify a moral end with an immoral action to achieve that end. You can't do it. You're talking out both sides of your mouth. Human trafficking is occurring in this country. America is responsible for a significant portion of that human trafficking. They systematically destroy the family unit here by incentivizing windfalls in divorces. It leads women, 85% of all divorces, to be filed by women. And it's not hard to find the numbers that roughly 85 to 90% of all child support is paid by fathers. The Office of Child Support Enforcement's own website has an entire section dedicated to why fathers are needed to be paying child support. They drive you out of your children's lives. The woman being incentivized, the mother being incentivized, thinking she's getting a windfall of the resources, is in fact becoming a puppet of the state and emboldened by the state. The police in your community will not enforce a custody arrangement or court orders. They won't enforce that, but they will enforce a warrant to arrest you when you're behind on child support. The purpose of making you pay child support is so that they can collect federal funding. The state is generating money off of your children's backs. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're slaves to the state. You are. Republican and Democrat both. Sit there, shake, nod your head, yes. Yes, Cash, you're right. But no, Cash, I never wanted to admit it. No, Cash, I don't really want to say what's on my mind because I'm scared of what my community members will think of me. I'm scared of stepping out and saying, no, you know what? I don't really agree with locking up somebody for cannabis. I don't really agree with that. Did he hurt somebody? No. Government took which wasn't theirs to take. Government has no right to tell you about cannabis use. End of story. It's unconstitutional on its face. You have a right to treat your body with medication placed on this earth by nature or by God. And by the very fact that you are a sentient being on this earth, you get to use the resources that are at your disposal. Right? What you create, what you sow, you should reap. I'm not saying that we should completely abolish the government. But certainly we could agree that right now, at this juncture, as working men and women in this country, that this government isn't working for the good of all people. It's working for the good of whoever raised the most money, whoever created the most ballots, whoever gerrymandered the most districts. That's who's in office. People that work tirelessly to manipulate and corrupt and get their way at the rest of our expense. I'm asking people that I know, those that are close to me, to begin moving down to Arkansas. Those that really want to see the reform necessary, especially those of you in states like Illinois, New Jersey, New York, California. Those of you who see the dysfunction in government, it's time we started standing together. The best way to do that is together. I believe that. Not over social media. I mean down the street from one another. I mean sharing a business in the same community square. I mean being a part of something to change something for the better. Bringing people together that love their country, they love their communities, they've been wronged by the system in a multitude of ways. And they really want to change it. They really genuinely want to change it for the better. And they know that Republicans and Democrats are both part of the problem. And those of you who refuse to acknowledge the shortcomings within your own party, you should be ashamed of yourself, really, honestly, for not calling them out on it. I'm disgusted that Republicans aren't leading the charge on legalization of cannabis, taking it off of the Schedule 1 list. When there are many veterans like myself who use cannabis to treat mental health issues or physical health issues created in our time of service. But Republicans won't get up there and go to bat for me. Why am I going to support Republicans? They won't go to bat for me. They won't. I couldn't get Jeannie Ives. I can't get, I mean, Alan Skillicorn up in Illinois, he endorsed me in my 2018 election. But that was it. And he knows that I'm suffering. He sees it on social media. He knows I'm not seeing my kids. I couldn't even get Jeannie Ives to take a picture with me. Right? I've got no love for Republicans at all. None. Zero. Republicans have hurt us just as much as Democrats. Every one of us. Every one of us. How many countless people were locked up over marijuana? Countless, countless, countless. People's lives ruined. Nobody's really having the discussion. We're just kind of hopping along like, oh, yeah, you know, this state legalized and this state's got medical now and blah, blah, blah. And then we're just so laissez-faire about the whole thing. And nobody's really going, hey, man, we fucked over a lot of people. We're still fucking over a lot of people. And you got rich businessmen making millions of fucking dollars growing marijuana. They were the only ones who could even get the goddamn permits. They give that shit to the wealthy. The same motherfuckers that were using it as well, but always got away with it or got bailed out because they had the fucking money. Mommy and daddy had the money for them. Not the working man. Working man's taking his ass to prison. You going to jail, son. Oh, you want a public defender? We got you a public defender. Whatever garbage they could fucking scoop up that the bar association shit out to them. That's who the working man gets to defend them. Working man don't get no good attorney. Nope. Those are reserved for for the elite, the socialites. We're going to band together, or aren't we? Are we going to talk about it anymore, or are we going to start getting it done? That's the question. All these messages that I got on Facebook or get on Facebook, I've stopped fucking reading them. So really, I'm not reading them anymore. If you want access to me, right, to be able to send me direct messages to directly communicate with me, yeah, you got to go over to Patreon now, right? My life has value, and I can't spend 24 hours a day, 7 days on the week with people wanting my advice, help, and assistance. And those that want to work with me, right? Those who are serious about it, fine. If you're serious about fucking reform and getting shit done, come over and join me, right? But I'm not having one-on-one conversations and wasting a lot of time with people that don't want to invest in me and what I'm trying to accomplish, right? I'm working my ass off. I do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I live this shit. I want fathers to stop paying child support. Okay, like if you're only if you're one of those fathers that has been fighting to see your kids, and the mother is being a gatekeeper, and the child is alienating you, that's a defense mechanism, by the way. Okay, what the offender does, they're the parental gatekeeper. The child is the alienator. It's a defense mechanism. So that the so that the aggressor doesn't harm the child as well. The child knows who the aggressor is. So the child will then relate to the aggressor and alienate towards the target, the targeted parent. In these states, they want it to happen. What's coming? There's something big coming. This isn't just family law, folks, right? With the United States Supreme Court dismissing this Texas case and them suing the other states, the battleground states, and how they conducted these elections, shit's about to get real, folks. And I said it months ago, right? I don't remember when I put that post up. Maybe it was a month ago, or it was months ago. I don't recall. But I made some guesses as to what was getting ready to transpire, and thus far, I'm right on track. I'm right on track for January 20th. Leonard Garcia. Here's to the extent that I contact people right here, right? Because I hear this all the time, right? And I'm not saying this is you, brother. All the fucking time, people tell me that they're with me, they're ready to go, they're going to do this. And when shit starts getting real, I get a fucking handful of excuses and excuses and excuses. And there's a small minority of people out there that are really investing in what we're doing in building this thing and growing this platform. The Veteran Liberty Network, right? This show will only be one show on the Veteran Liberty Network, right? That's the one we're going to grow. As many of these shows and podcasts that we can get on there, we're going to put on there and populate on there, and then we will have a virtual news network reporting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Only my Patreon members will be citizen journalists for this news organization, for the Veteran Liberty Network. You'll be a citizen journalist in your cities. You will be eyes and ears, and you will broadcast. If there's something going on in your city, right, and they're not showing the truth, they're manipulating, we'll have citizen journalists on the street streaming right back to us and broadcasting across the network, and as many channels as we can add to it. So if you invest in me, I invest in you. That's the way that it works. Okay? I'm investing in you right now. I've already taken the first step. Why? I was on air and you came on here and you contacted me. I took a very large step in what I'm doing here. Many of us have, and we're all growing our respective platforms. So you either fund the war on terror through the people that are hurting you, or you fund the war on terror and you keep your money here. Take that child support that you're supposed to pay. If the mother or the father is alienating you, I don't care who it is. But if there's a gatekeeper keeping your kids from you and you've tried to be in your kids' lives and they're just not letting you, they're doing like what they're doing to me, don't pay the child support. Don't pay it. Leave the state. Go to a different state. Move to Arkansas. Yeah, I'm saying it. Don't pay the fucking child support. If they won't let you be a parent to the kids you brought into this world, if they didn't find you to be unfit or an endangerment to your kids, and these trumped up bullshit orders of protection that they use in secret hearings, that's what they are. Call them what they are. Ex parte, that's bullshit. Fuck that. These are secret hearings. You're not there. You're not there when you get accused. You don't even know what's happening. You have no chance to defend yourself at the moment. and they rubber stamp that motherfucker and ruin your life with impunity, and nobody cares. Nobody bats an eyelash. They just go right on about their day. These fucking clerks in these fucking courthouses just stamp these orders of protection, stamp an order of protection, stamp an order of protection, stamp an order of protection. Fucking American, fucking American, fucking American, and that's what they keep doing. It's an assembly line of fuck the man, fuck, you know. And who are they doing it to? The serfs, the serfs, the serfs, right? When they stamp that fucking courthouse on there, every court document you have is an assertion that the state fucking owns you. Every fucking time they stamp that motherfucker. Because they take that stamp, boom, courthouse owns you, boom. State owns you, boom. You don't pay, you don't work for the state. If you don't invest into it, you go to jail. They'll put you in jail for anything and everything. They'll make shit up. They're creative. They're creative, motherfucker. Breaking the law, the fucking lawbreakers, these terrorists, they're creative at breaking the law. Some people are going to say, Cash, that's irresponsible to tell people to do that. That's irresponsible. No. Here's what's irresponsible. Turning a blind eye to people suffering. That's what's fucking irresponsible. What's irresponsible is knowing full well what I'm saying is 1,000% true. And there is not one person in this country that could convince me otherwise and show me on paper that I'm fucking wrong. I'll show you on paper that I'm right. In front of any person, anytime. President, Pope, I don't give a fuck. Santa Claus. Church was awesome. Watched my nephews up on stage in a little Christmas play. Melted my heart. Melted my heart. I almost broke down crying. All right. I'll tell you one of the a gift that is a blessing and a curse, and that's being empathetic. Being an empath, you hear people say, Cash wears his heart on his sleeve. It's because I'm an empath, right? I literally feel people's pain, right? When I sense people hurting and see them hurting, like that man this morning, right, walking in the rain, looked at me, a white man in a truck on a rural road, middle of rural Louisiana. He's black, I'm white. I felt the man's pain, right? And it rode with me all the way to church. And it takes people like that, because people like me are those who it moves us to action. Our Creator designed people like me with the passion to do what we do because we're so deeply moved by the pain of our fellow man. And that empathy is born out of, I believe in many of us, tremendous suffering that we've suffered for many, many, many years. We've endured a lot of pain at the hands of other people. Physical, sexual, mental, emotional pain at the hands of other people. And you experience so much pain in a fucking lifetime that you know exactly how it feels. And when you see somebody else hurting, you immediately begin hurting with them, because it brings back how you were hurt instantaneously. I wasn't in church because I was praying. I'm not much of a praying man anymore. I don't pray much. Honestly. I do, but not much. I'm not a religious guy. More often than not, people are praying for me, right? That I hold on another day. Hold on another day. I migrated out of Illinois because I was a political target. They're going to make an example out of me. I owe $7,400 in back child support, according to Lake County, Illinois. According to federal law, which Michigan just recently recognized in the case of Foster v. Foster, that military disability pay is off limits to the state. In any capacity, Rose v. Rose was effectively overturned in the Michigan Supreme Court in my friend Ray Foster's case. And the state of Illinois says that I owe $7,400 in back child support to my ex-wife, who has not allowed me to see my daughter in over 2.5 years and my son in over 2 years. At no point in time was an investigation ever launched into the fact that Judge Joseph Salvi of the 19th Judicial Circuit, who was overseeing my case, and severed contact in March of 2018. At no time has the executive branch, despite me telling them what happened, the FBI nor the Secret Service, who have both been to my house, neither have ever recontacted me. Neither one of them. I've not seen hide nor hair of them. And day after day, I don't even see or speak to my kids on illegal court orders. Nothing. Nothing. A 20-year Navy veteran can be cut off and severed from his children instantaneously, illegally. They severed contact with my children because of this. Do y'all understand that? That's why I've not stopped. I've never been wrong on this. I've never been wrong. I've been right the entire time. And all these people that I served in the military with dismiss me. All of these people that I went to church with dismiss me. All these people that I grew up with and have known for many years dismiss me. Unfriended me. Cash is crazy. Yeah. Desperation and sadness and despair will do that. And when somebody's crying for help, it seems as though in this country everybody gets assistance except the people who actually need it. I'm never going to stop fighting. Never. Never. Not going to stop fighting. But we have a real chance here to change this country. We've got a real chance to change this country. I'm inviting those that share a similar mindset to begin migrating. To begin migrating and living in communities and in a state where we fight to defend individual liberties of all people. Where we can live in peace and solidarity with your neighbor. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? If my neighbor grows cannabis, I don't care. Doesn't matter if I agree. If my neighbor's gay and marries his or her partner, I don't care. Hold on. Let's see what it says. Hello? Hi. It is.
Hi, Cash. I was just watching your live video. This is Ruth Parks in Wamego, Kansas.
Okay.
And I got your invitation to contact you, so I thought I would.
Do you want me to put you live on the air?
You can if you want to. I think it's kind of a lengthy story about what's happening. But yeah, feel free.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Can you give us your large summary points?
Okay, large summary points.
Hold on. I want you to introduce yourself again. Tell them who you are and why you're calling.
I'm Ruth Parks. I'm I'm from Omega, Kansas, and I'm calling Cash because I'm actually involved in a child support order that is completely unfair to my ex-husband.
So it's your ex-husband that you're advocating for.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is important. I'm glad that you called and we're able to have you on the air. It was just by coincidence that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your ex-husband and you're advocating on his behalf.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So we were amicably divorced in 2018, in April of 2018. And I was able to work out all of the details with the divorce. And in it, instead of selling the house, because we were going to have 50-50 custody of our 9 children together,
Wow.
it was better for him to keep the house. So in return, he offered to pay me our grocery budget, which was $350 a week, so that I could rebuild my life. And I had just started my own business cleaning at that time.
Okay.
So I was trying to get on my feet.
So he was giving you $1,400 a month for the grocery bill for the 9 kids.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I was able to get on my feet. I did meet someone else and became remarried. My now husband lost his job August 22nd of 2019. And with the union, he was pipe fitter, so he's laid off because there was no steel.
Okay.
Anyways, long story short, I was forced to go to apply for food stamps for the first time in my adult life. So,
well, that's pretty good. I mean, considering you had 9 kids, I mean, that's honestly, that's a testament to what how resourceful you guys were.
Yeah. So I went and applied for food stamps, and when we were listing everything, my husband did not have unemployment at that moment, so they listed it as the only income was the child support I was receiving. So that happened. I was able to get assistance. Great. April 2020, I get called from an attorney at Youngs Williams in Illinois who was working for Kansas DCF, and I was talking to the attorney, and he called me because he thought that the paperwork did not seem right. And he says, "There's no back child support." And I said, "No, sir, there's none whatsoever." He said, "Something is terribly wrong here, and I think that they might have hired high school dropouts to work for the state."
Oh, really?
Yes, because he said this doesn't make any sense, and they were trying to get my ex-husband for $30,000 of back child support.
Wow.
Which he was completely current on child support, and we were handling it in cash transactions between ourselves. Big mistake. But anyways, he's a good dad, so I would never, ever, ever cut him out of his children's life.
That's amazing. Jeez, I would give you a hug right now. If you were standing here, I would give you a hug because that is amazing. You should be applauded for that.
Oh, thank you. So fast forward, that was in April. My ex-husband receives paperwork in the mail in early May that we're going to be in court on June 6, 2020, and that they are hitting him for $30,000 of back child support. I have not received that paperwork as of that point. So I called back the number to the attorney that was hired by DCF that I had spoke to in April of 2020. I got the Youngs William headquarter office in Illinois, and the guy who answered the phone says, "How did you get this number?" And I said, "Well, the attorney called me on it, so I saved it." He said, "Well, now they're not representing this case anymore, and I'll have to wait for further instructions." I said, "Well, wait a second. They're trying to get him for $30,000 of back child support, and that's invalid. That cannot be happening." And he's like, "I don't know what to tell you. You're just going to have to wait and see what happens." Okay. So June 6th comes around. We're in court. I've received paperwork. My ex-husband has not. And I showed up with every single payment that he had given me since the divorce written out, along with the directive of how much cash I had been receiving. And also the same sentiment that my now husband is unemployed. This is the only income that we had at that time because unemployment had not yet gone through. Okay. Judge completely gets it. Gary Pomeroy was the attorney that DCF was using, and he seemed very confused about what was going on. He has since passed away. On November 4th, Gary Pomeroy passed away of what I don't know. But he was old and kind of confused.
Okay.
During that time, when we went before the judge, I said there's no back child support owed. The judge ordered that no arrears were ordered. Okay, so that is actually in the paperwork from June 6th. Fast forward to August 1st. Now the child support is being modified, and which I agreed to. So we're going to go from $1,400 a month to $522. So it's more equitable for him because, we have 50-50 custody and everybody's doing what they need to be doing.
Right.
Okay. I agree to all of this. The judge signs off on it. Fantastic. It goes to DCF. They forward it to Kansas Payment Center, and they are going to now start taking $522 out of his check for child support. I received the key benefits card in the mail in like mid-August, but no money on it. There was no money on that card until mid-September. Okay. And so here they are extracting $1,400 a month from him falsely because the order is actually for $522 a month. In the meantime, in between time, now we're in December. I just found out because I had to call the county clerk to email me everything that we had, all the affidavits requesting income withholding order and everything, knowing that he's still being taken for $1,400 a month and the order is actually $522 a month. And I found out that they actually have been debiting someone else that Gary Pomeroy found with the wrong social security number, who is working in Boise, Idaho, and sending all of our paperwork to Hurst, Texas, to another person with the same name. And I thought this is why I haven't been getting the money, is because it's most likely coming from the other guy up in Boise, Idaho. So I have to call back to the Kansas Payment Center. And I'm pointing out every flaw in the affidavits that I have here. The address is wrong, the social security number is wrong, the place of employment's wrong. They can't help me. They tell me that I need to file an affidavit for forgiveness of arrearage that does not exist. The order actually states that there's no arrearage ordered. And now the amount that they're trying to get him for is $36,000 instead of $30,000 because someone can't math, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so they tacked on $6,000 saying it's back child support.
Did that to me. Yep, same thing.
And I have been on the phone consistently, calling every single person I could think of, contacting attorneys. Nobody knows what to do. They keep telling me I need to talk to the court trustee in Pottawatomie County, Kansas. There is no such thing in Pottawatomie County. It's a very tiny, small place. It's in between Manhattan and Topeka. They don't have a court trustee, so I have no one to talk to.
Yeah.
I have no attorney who will help.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to file an affidavit for no reason other than to prove to the court again, to get to the DCF, to forward to the Kansas Payment Center that there is no arrearage whatsoever. And I want my ex-husband to actually not have to pay anything. I would prefer if he was paying the minimal amount of child support allowed by the state, which is $69, so that he has a chance to get back on his feet financially. Because they have been raking him over the coals. And now some other poor bloke has been paying for my children, and we have no idea where the money's went. Because the numbers that I've received on that card do not equate. And the caseworker tells me that I need to be prepared to pay that money back.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Because and that's oh, and they've done that with these overpayments. With the unemployment. Have you seen that? They've been taking, so they're claiming these overpayments, and now they're taking people's unemployment and they're taking it from their husbands or their wives or whatever, and they're just nixing them at the knees. It's unreal.
It's wild to me, but there is no accountability. There's no one to speak to. There's no one to do anything.
Right. It's a big fucking loop of nothingness. The VAs like that. It's endless. It's endless nothing. It's just nothing. It's endless nothingness.
Oh, absolutely. I think that we need to maybe form some sort of watchdog entity that can start bringing some accountability to these people, because if someone is paying,
I'll tell you what that is. That's the militias that are forming across the country, right? And I'm telling folks, go join your militia, go join your state militia. I'm telling you right now, you better get your ass some training, right, and start bringing some resources together, because I'm afraid we're in for some bad news, and exactly what you're talking about. Thank God. I mean, honestly, you're the first person I've ever talked to in this capacity on air in front of other people that is saying it from the other side. Like you're affirming what we're saying is true. It's this fucked up, right?
Oh, it's terrible. And to think that somebody else is paying for my children, and I'm getting that money sporadically.
So you're getting some other person's money.
That's all I can come up with because the numbers do not match.
Just don't match.
They do not match.
So you don't think that maybe they're chopping some out for something that because here's something that they'll do, right? They'll take any money that you got in any sort of welfare benefits, I think like cash benefits or anything like that, and they'll take that money out of his child support and it goes back to the state coffers to reimburse the state.
Right. I've never gotten cash from the state, and in fact, having food stamps in this entire mess has led me to believe that I would rather eat out of a garbage can than ever ask the state of Kansas for help again. Ever.
I don't blame you. And you know what? And that's part of the reason that I'm wanting my friends and my family to move near where I'm at. Right. I'm over in Logan County, Arkansas. I'm not going to tell people where, but I'm in Logan County, and I want people that I love and I trust to move near me because we should be supporting one another, right? These healthcare facilities that they lock down our senior citizens in, it disgusts me because the state, through these probate courts, they'll take and make these elderly the wards of the state. They'll dissipate all of their real estate holdings, all of it. They'll liquidate it all. Give them an assigned guardian ad litem till they have nothing, and then we have to put them into some state-run healthcare facility or somebody who takes Medicaid and or Medicare, and it's awful. We should be forming our own elderly nursing homes, and as citizens and as family members and as a community, taking care of our elderly the proper way, like really good. I'm not saying that they're not doing it in these small communities, but there's a lot where they don't take care of them.
No, they don't. And our old people, our veterans, our fathers, our homeless people, we don't. There's no programs for them, and they're very few and far between. Historically, we were assigned to like a tribal mindset, as in like we were to take care of one another. You honor your father and your mother. You take care of your grandparents. The family lives together. They work together. They eat together. They do all those things.
Right.
Now we have cut out the middleman. Really the man of the situation, and we have said we don't need him. And all we need him for is a paycheck. We don't need men for paychecks. We need men to be fathers, to train our children to do the right things in life, even if they are the hardest things to do. And where we stand now is a testament to the failure of the system. We have broken people walking around here who cannot fend for themselves any longer,
right?
Because they don't have the job.
Right.
Our living expenses do not equate to what they're being paid. It is madness. It's complete madness.
Yeah. Well, we took a homeless guy in off the streets. He's been living with my family for months now, and I never advertised it. I didn't put it out there, but this guy's been. I found this guy. I mean, and I'm not going to say a lot about any of his private medical history or anything, but let's just say, the guy needs some assistance. He needs some help, like some serious help. And my family, we took him in. He stayed with me for a while, and then he went to live with my one of my family members, and he's been staying there. And we have to take better care of one another. It's just
charged with the care of our brothers and our sisters, but there's a lot more programs for women and children than what there are for men.
Right. Yeah. There's virtually nothing out there for men. I mean, which of course stands to reason why there's so many that are homeless.
Exactly. And finding housing for them is near impossible. I'm in between Topeka and Manhattan, and we do have homeless folks that we come upon. I clean houses for a living, and I have been at many evictions that just broke my heart.
Right.
People who couldn't pay their bills, and then I'm tasked with going in and taking care of their stuff, and I actually pack it up for them.
That's hard.
I try to.
That's a tough job. Wow, that's a tough job.
It is, and I usually just do residential cleans and sometimes commercial. I quit doing evictions because it's too tough. I can't be on that side of things. What I do, I want to use for good and not to hurt somebody. But I just helped this lady. While I'd been packing up all of her belongings that were next to nothing. She didn't have anything, and because she had sold almost everything.
Wow.
And I said, her name was Maya, and I said, I'm going to keep this stuff for you, and when you're ready and when you have a place for this, you let me know.
Right.
And I did. I kept it for her for 3 months until she could find a place to live with her 3 teenage children.
I would normally say, and I never thought I would ever say this, but for a parent, that you have 9 children.
Yeah, I actually have 11, but I do have 9 children with my ex-husband.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to say, go ahead and have another 20 or 50. We need more like you. I hope your kids turn out half as amazing as what you are. It's just a testament to the human spirit, and just doing the right thing isn't that hard. It's not as hard as what people want to make it out to be, is it? Just treating your husband with compassion, or I'm sorry, your ex-husband with compassion, and
he had a complete mental health crisis.
Yeah.
It turned out that his father was a pedophile.
Yeah.
And he molested my daughters, and
Wow.
I called the police. And
wow.
he ended up abandoning his children at home because there were still kids at home because he came from a large family. And my ex-father-in-law, and he ran to Mexico. And so I waged war against him using every avenue to try to go and apprehend him from Mexico. And I have been shut down every situation. But I watched my husband, whom I loved dearly at that time, spiral out of control. And I watched him destroy himself and all of his relationships and everything in an effort to maybe find his identity or to deal with a mental health crisis. And I knew that that's what was happening. But the only answer ended up being that I needed to leave, and not for my safety, but because everybody was completely miserable.
Right.
And I gave him time to get himself together, and he became the best father a child could ever have.
Wow.
I never took his kids away from him, and I just let him do his thing at his own pace.
Wow.
And I really wish that other women would allow the same thing to happen.
Right.
I can't carry every burden that he had. I couldn't fix anything for him.
Right.
I had to let him do it himself. But I gave him the opportunity to do that. And now he is with a wonderful, wonderful woman. She actually is, I employ her. She works for me.
Wow. What a story. Holy cow.
She's a wonderful worker for me. And I couldn't ask for anyone better to be my extra set of hands and to fill the shoes and the role that she has. Because, wow, I mean, that's a big deal to deal with 9 children.
Right.
And she has 4 of her own as well.
Wow.
So,
that is an amazing story. Man, you guys are like the story we need. If I can do a lifetime story on you guys and broadcast it, could we do that? A lot of people love what you're saying. I mean, they're like insta lock to you. They're like, she's amazing.
well, I feel like if we all band together and we
right.
start changing things, if this can happen in our situation, if the state can be taking money from my ex-husband and not giving it to me and pin it on someone else and give that money to me,
right.
This could happen to anyone.
To anybody, yeah. And people, I mean, they spun me as being this incompetent father because they sent this $3,500 child support payment that I submitted to the Illinois State Disbursement Unit. And I had child support going out to my oldest boy in North Carolina, and then my younger 2 in Illinois. And the state of Illinois sent it to the wrong one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they sent it to the wrong one. And then in the paper, they portrayed it as though I sent the payment to the wrong mother.
Yeah, so
again, had to make me look incompetent. It was my fault. Yeah, it wasn't the Illinois State Disbursement Unit, right? They're impeccable.
Yes. So this is why we send everything certified mail, and you also email a copy, because if you don't email, then you don't have a paper trail.
Right. Absolutely.
So I have found that out through the hard way, because actually in my spare time, I'm a sex abuse victims advocate.
Wow.
And we are actually looking into the sex abuse and the crimes of the SSPX church, which is here. It's a traditional Latin Catholic
Wow.
church. And
wow.
we found out that there's a lot of victims, and there's about 40 years of abuse since the church was formed. So we're I'm on that wavelength, working with the KBI and helping to bring victims in to be interviewed so that they can maybe get some justice.
That is amazing.
So if y'all want to look that up, you guys can Google it. It was printed in the Kansas City Star. It's also on Church Militant with Christine Niles and Michael Voris. And there's several victims that are also talking to other media outlets.
Where did you come from? Like, you just came out of nowhere. You came like out of left field. Where did you come from?
Actually, I've been following you for quite some time through Raymond and Amelia Schwab.
Oh, the Schwabs. I love the Schwabs.
Yeah.
My network comes through again. I tell you, it's the cash connection. I tell people all the time. I've got this massive network.
Yeah, so when Raymond and Amelia were actually camped out on the steps at Topeka, I went and marched with them, and I, was PayPaling them and trying to help meet their needs while he was on a hunger strike.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I came to know about you.
Okay.
And yeah.
Hey, tell people who you are. They want to know who you are.
Oh, I'm Ruth Parks from Wamego, Kansas.
You are like the most wholesome individual I've ever spoken to. You're amazing. I'm surprised you watch me, because I'm pretty foul-mouthed.
That's okay. I love Jesus and I cuss a little.
Well, yeah. I didn't burn up when I walked through the door, so I can't be that bad off.
No, this life is hard and messy anyways.
Right.
And when you add in the state trying to regulate every single emotion of every woman scorned, you end up with a whole massive set of problems. There's a lot of running afoul here in just about every government organization. Everything that's supposed to be supervised and be there to help is actually there for a financial gain.
Well, and they're guarding it. They're guarding the hen house. You know what I mean? We've got the foxes guarding the hen house. You can't get in Illinois. We submitted Freedom of Information Act requests to multiple counties. And all we inquired to is we just wanted the numbers and any associated funding when they issue emergency orders of protection. All of them came back and said that in the state of Illinois, the judicial branch is exempt from FOIA requests.
That is not true.
Yeah.
They cannot be. They
Yeah.
cannot be.
Yes, and they cite it with an appeals court case. They back it up with an appeals court case. I don't guess it's ever went to the Supreme Court, apparently. Or if it has, it's I don't know. I never researched it. But yeah, you can't FOIA, and so they won't divulge even simple numbers, just facts, just data. How much money did you get for rubber stamping this emergency order protection? We have, my buddies and I have asked the state's attorneys in the counties this. It's a revenue generator. That's what it is. It's a revenue generator. They're just anything they're rubber stamping, it's because it generates revenue, right? Your license plates. Okay, your registration, your driver's license, your marriage license. Every time they stamp something, they're making money off the surf, right? They just keep slicing away, right? Sell you your rights back.
Yikes, taxes too. I mean, we get taxed for every mile.
Everything.
I got to pay taxes to go fishing. I got to pay taxes for my employees. I 1099 them all, so they are responsible. But I have to pay for insurance, business insurance that required so that I can operate in case I break something in somebody's home. And I got to pay taxes on the insurance. I got to pay taxes to state, and it's wild here because I was really scared to go out on my own. because of taxes and because of all the responsibilities. But I went and found some single moms, and I knew that I had to pay them well and give them living wages because I knew that they would work for me. And so now they have more than just a job. They have someone to support them and love them through everything.
That's what we need.
Yeah, and so
not a lot of single moms. We don't need more single moms.
No. We need people who are willing to support a family structure and families in crisis.
Right.
And we can do it on our level instead of relying on the government to do it for us.
Right. That's what I want. And I'm probably being labeled some, crazy hippie commune socialist, right-wing terrorist, right? Because I'm a little bit of everything, apparently.
Well, I'm pretty much smack dab in the middle.
Right. That's kind of most of us. It's just like, it's common sense. I think that's where common sense lies, right? In the middle.
Yeah.
It would be common sense to me for it to be in the middle.
I don't feel like we need the government to regulate parenthood.
Not at all. Zero.
And I also don't think that we need the government to be able to take care of each other, and that we can do better. We absolutely can. If we were to, put programs in to teach people how to be better, we would be winning. But we have everyone stressed out. The man's supposed to go make the paycheck. The woman's supposed to be at home taking care of babies. That's mostly everywhere that I have lived has believed that, especially in St. Mary's, Kansas, traditional Catholic. And what happens is 10 years ago, I started a group called the St. Mary's Circle, and we started helping families in crisis. And I found out that almost every family that was in crisis was that way because they were hiding abuse or an abuser.
Right. Thank you. Thank God somebody else is saying this. I mean, I know there's other people out there, but it's refreshing to have somebody like yourself come on, be on the opposite side, because I should hate you. You're a mother. You're a woman. I should despise you and tell you how I'm better than you.
No, where I'm from, a lot of people are pro-life, but they're not pro-family, and they're not pro-life in the sense that things happen and that you should be willing to support that person through a crisis.
Right.
Instead, we just ignore them and we say, you can't do this because this is sinful or whatever.
Right.
And so I have taken the stance that if you're going to be religious, you have to understand that sin is a part of life.
It is,
and you just have to get through it because everybody does it.
Right.
So,
well, yeah, you don't go around stoning people, right? You don't go around casting stones in glass houses.
And let me tell you, in the community I'm from, those people who espouse those beliefs, a lot of them are being cheated on. A lot of them have been beaten. A lot of them are dealing with unannounced drug issues,
right,
and alcoholism.
Right.
Because of the pressure. Because
right.
there's so much pressure to be a certain way. Because it's all about the image and how you look to other people. Because if you look this way, then you must be holy and you must
right.
be good.
Well, and I mean, it's one reason. Like today, I went to church, and I'm in. Well, I had this on, which fine, but I had on a black leather jacket with skulls on it, and clearly I stood out in a Southern Baptist church, and but I can go in there and I can have like really different viewpoints, and I can be civil and respectful to the elderly and respect their place of worship, and then I can go home and I can drop as many F-bombs on my show as I want.
Absolutely. I don't know how long you want me to stay on here, but I could just tell you a quick anecdotal thing.
Do it. Let's hear it.
Life.
You haven't bored me yet.
Okay. When I was 17, I found myself pregnant, and I had been the church babysitter at the Trinity Baptist Church, and I was madly in love with the boy who promised me everything. And as soon as I found out I was pregnant,
Wait, hold on. You were in church? You were in church?
I was in church 5 days a week. I was their daycare provider. And I felt like the worst person in the world. So I have this emergency C-section for a baby who's born at 32 weeks, 2 pounds and 12 ounces. And I did not want pain medicine because I felt like I was the worst sinner. And these women from my church came and they said, Ruth, you're doing the right thing. And we're going to love you through this. Those women gave me a baby shower. They knew that I had worked clear up until I delivered my baby. And they told me to just try to do better. Don't worry about what you've done because everybody makes mistakes. And we're going to love you through this.
Wow.
And so at 17, here I am, just graduated high school, living at the Ronald McDonald House, seeing my baby who's in the NICU. I was actually enlisted in the Army, and I was scheduled to leave.
Wow.
On May, he was born May 11th. I was supposed to leave on May 28th.
Wow. Holy cow.
Graduation. Yeah, and so I had to get out of it. And of course, the military did not want me to have a baby. They offered me every option under the sun. They wanted me to have an abortion. They wanted me to have them adopted out. And you know what? I'm so glad that none of that happened because then 9/11 happened. So I had been enlisted. I was going to be a tank mechanic for the Army.
That's crazy.
It all worked out because I had this wonderful little boy, and I was working 2 and 3 jobs, not getting any child support. And in walks Domingo, my ex-husband, and he had a little girl who didn't have a mother. And her mama had chosen to just leave her with him at 3 months old. And so he was taking care of her full time and working. And we happened to be working at the same job. And really, our agreement to marriage was more of a business deal. It was like, your son doesn't have a father and my daughter doesn't have a mother. So do you want to get married or what?
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, sure. Okay. So off we were, and we got married, and 9 children later.
Wow.
Good Catholics living the Catholic ideal life.
No kidding. Wow. Hey, that's a pretty good life, I guess. I mean, you guys were busy. Things weren't stale around there.
Yes and no.
Okay. Hey, we'll leave that for like a midnight show or something.
Yeah. But anyways, it ended up the way it did. And after being married for 15 years, we got separated and then divorced and, on and so forth.
Right.
And now we both have met other people. And we decided early on that we would have been the best of friends if we would have ever stayed friends and never been married.
Right. Thank you. I say this all the time. I say it a lot, and thank you for saying it. That I don't know what it is about marriage. I can't exactly put my finger on it. I've been married twice. Okay. It just changes. It does, right? It, like, things fundamentally alter. I can't explain it. I don't know.
Well, I know what that is. That's actually history building. So as time passes, you actually are acquiring new information, and with that new information, it helps you to evolve to a different level. And so sometimes one partner outgrows the other, or they don't feel as fulfilled as they once did. So that's what happens. Usually, if a relationship is ending, it is not growing at the same rate is the core issue. And so if people knew that and recognized that element of things, we would all be so much better off. Right.
Well, I think it's one of the reasons too that brutal honesty. I would love to live in a community where it's just brutally honest. And I'll give you an example. I walked into a gas station here the other day, and this lady asked me, she smiled and was just, she greeted me. She was like, "Oh, how's your day going, sir?" And I'm like, "Fuck, it sucks." And she was like, I could tell, like threw her off guard, and she was kind of this, she was middle-aged lady, and she just kind of stared blankly at me. And I'm like, "Ma'am," I said, I don't have time to fucking lie to people, So you asked me how my day was, and it's not been pleasant. It's been a really shitty day, and thank you for asking, so I could get that off my chest. And she was like, "Oh," she was like, "You're welcome." I'm like,
it's like, "Hi, how you doing? Here's a load of shit for you."
All right. Just give it to them, and maybe next time, they'll think twice about asking somebody that looks like they might unload on them,
Well, and I feel like with everybody wearing masks now, all we have is eyes to see.
Not me. I refuse to wear that sumbitch. I refuse. I won't fucking wear. I just walk in, like, I look at that thing and I'm defiant. I see those signs, mandatory mask. Okay, good luck with that. Throw me out.
Yeah.
Call the cops. I'll be done peeing in your gas station before they get here.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of more of a rule follower than a rule breaker, but I quit caring what people thought about
Not
me
me.
a long time
Break
ago,
them
and
damn rules because they're stupid.
yeah, a lot of rules are
They're
really
stupid.
not fair.
You can't record in court, right? You can't record in court. It's a rule. And then they'll hold you in contempt for breaking their rule. It's like the fucking bullies on the playground said, this is the cool kids club. Only we can have our phones. Only we can record, right?
Yeah.
You're not part of the cool
So-
kids club.
I recommend to everyone who's going to a court case to actually pay for the transcript. It's a lot easier to obtain through your court-appointed attorney who is not really working for you. But just pay the.
Do you
fee
mean
for
in a
the
criminal
transcript.
trial? Because in most civil
No,
cases,
any case,
Okay.
case. If
Okay.
you have questions, the best thing you can do is get the transcript and really pressure the attorney to get one. And if they say $300, just get the $300 and give it to them, because it is much better to have those words right in front of you, so that when you're preparing for your next issue, you are well aware and you're able to dispute intelligently about what it is they've said.
I'm really at the position now in my life where I'm kind of giving advice to a couple of different groups of people, right? That if somebody is progressing well in their case and they've got a good judge and they've got a good attorney and people, everything's being fair and everything's above board. You do have many like that happen in this country, and people walk away from the court with no issues, but there are entirely too many that are rigged against them from the get-go and they don't even know about it. And so I think that people should completely divest from these attorneys and the courts and the child support and their taxes. That I really don't think we've got a constitutional obligation to pay taxes to a government that's using our money. They're weaponizing our tax dollars against us.
Yes, and they weaponize everything. They weaponize a relationship failure,
Right.
as well.
Right.
They weaponize anything and everything. If you make the wrong turn or you don't stop, or which those could be dangerous things, but somebody really could get hurt if they don't follow traffic laws. But you get pulled over for something and end up getting searched and pat down on the side of the road. That's insane to me. But it's not fair. And I have seen attorneys stand outside the courtroom and say, I kid you not, you got the last case, I'll get this one, and you buy me lunch.
Yeah. People don't know this. They don't realize that when you first go in there, right, those first few times you go in, you're so confused by the whole process and what's happening. You don't have a fucking clue of the kangaroo show that's unfolding. It is just, if you hang around those courts enough and you watch them, I mean, they've all got their own little characters, right? Oh my God. Some of them, a lot of these, and I hate to say it, a lot of those female attorneys, they look like straight hookers, right? Straight. And not that I'm opposed to prostitution, right? I don't really care what you do with your body. But they're in the courthouse like that, and they are, right? They're in there prostituting themselves to, to these judges and to the other attorneys. I know I have talked to some of these female attorneys, and they get around through these law firms, and so do the men. The men are all in there too. The judges, they're in there, they're doing cocaine, they're doing they have all kinds of crazy parties. They had a judge in Chicago who took his gun into the courthouse. It fell out on video. He picks it up and like stuffs it back in like wherever it fell out of, and nothing even happened to the guy. Yeah, I mean, it's entirely, there is one class of people, and then there's us, right?
Yeah.
That's it. There's the ruling class, and then there's us, the serfs, the slave class down here.
That the people are going to rise up at some point, and they're going to say enough. And the people that have been taken advantage of us all are going to be ruining the day that they did take advantage of the general population.
Right.
That case that I was telling you about was actually the one that was decided outside the courtroom before they walked in, was for a guy who had a second drug charge, and he had went through rehab, and it had been a year and a half since he had actually been found with a little bit of marijuana. He had been married and had a brand new baby, and that baby was about a week and a half old, and they sent him to prison for a year for a whole year for his minor amount of marijuana. And I watched him kiss his wife and his baby, and they put him in cuffs, and I just saw the look of defeat on his face.
Wow.
And I thought, my gosh, he didn't even have a chance. He
Right.
didn't even have a chance to do
Right.
anything. And now, we're going to federally decriminalize marijuana.
Yeah.
It's set to be decriminalized. And how many people have had their lives ruined for a plant? It's not right. It's not fair. And I know that guy. I don't know where he is. I hope he moved far away from here, but I hope he's doing okay, because I have never seen something so heartbreaking ever, to be doing so well after the fact and get your shit together and find someone to love and have a baby with, and it all just taken away.
Yeah. Stripped away from him. I saw a similar look on a young man's face up in Illinois. So whenever I was up there this past spring and they put me back in jail the second time, I already knew the routine. And I was sitting up in their little bullpen or whatever. They would take you up to the jailhouse, which is adjacent to the courthouse. And they've got a elevated tunnel that goes over to their brand new expanded courthouse, mind you, and renovated jailhouse. I know CJ's yelling at me. My patron bar is wrong. Hold on a second. I got to fix it. He's gonna yell at me if I don't fix this.
Okay.
Oh Jesus! I love this guy. He comes in and I'm in the middle of something. He's like, "You need to fix this." He's my executive producer, but it's the weekend, so he's off, so I have to do it myself. And he catches me on a live feed, and he was like, "Oh my God, Cash! This is why he's my producer, because he knows I'm going to do this shit."
I make technological mistakes all the time. I just got a laptop today and had to call my sister-in-law over to set it up for me, because I'm totally not advanced on that level.
No, I'm not. I'm not either.
But computers, no.
I know just enough that I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous. That's funny. I'm going to fix this real quick, and then we'll move forward. So, what's the plan now? You're just going to file a motion there for your ex-husband then to try and.
I am. I'm going to go ahead and file the affidavit for forgiveness of arrearage for an order that doesn't exist, and I'm going to put the facts in that the money is actually being extracted from some guy in Boise, Idaho, and all of the paperwork has been going to Hearst, Texas. But he's in Kansas with 50-50 custody of his children. And I'm also going to simultaneously ask the court to reduce his child support to the minimum allowed, which is $69 in the state of Kansas, and see if they will let us do that, because our incomes are so similar now, and he needs a chance to recover from all that they've taken from him. And I have been getting the cash off the card and handing it back to him so that he could pay his bills.
Well,
because they take more than 50% of his check, and it's left him with nothing, essentially.
They take how much of his check?
More than 50%. They take $350. His job used to be really good, but they worked on a bonus system, and they pretty much done away with it. So when at one point he was making about $1,500 to $1,600 a week.
Right.
And that was a good time. But now it's reduced down to about $600 to $700.
Wow.
On a regular basis. And it's been so he's taken at least a $30,000 pay cut in the last year.
Wow.
And it's not just him, it's all the families around here.
That's crazy.
Working at the same job.
Wow.
So
you know what? I mean, you should be testifying in front of Congress daily, especially with this idiot Tom Cotton over here in Arkansas. And you might have caught that in one of the shows the other day. But well, you know what? I mean, it's amazing, Ruth, what you do. You're a testament that there are good people out there. There are good women out there, and it's a blessing to have you on, and for other, especially men out there that are scorned to see that. Look, I mean, that's pretty intimidating to go into a relationship to a woman with 9 children. But I mean, you're tremendous, right? And I can see why any guy would go, Okay, yeah, she's a really good person. I could see that. So,
I think my husband was very, very scared when he first met me
oh,
because I
I
I
can
had been
imagine.
married and he hadn't. I have a bunch of kids. He has identical twin girls. Like
Wow.
so the kid equation was very lopsided.
Right.
But he came from a big family, so he was a little bit more receptive, and he has been really great to my children and to my family, stepping in and helping to provide a home for us and to take care of us. And we have been able to work symbiotically to make sure everybody's situation is better. I will say that his children's mother, the twins' mom, he had a very tumultuous relationship with her, and it wasn't on very great terms. And since then, I have been able to maybe soften him a little bit, and he treats her. They're able to have a conversation now, and not be so hostile towards each other, and to the point where this year we went out and we got Christmas gifts for her. I made sure that because he owed some back child support from when he was unemployed. They took the stimulus. They also took some of my taxes that was for my children, and I made sure that it went to her so that it was all caught up and paid off for him, because I didn't feel like it was fair for her to not have what was owed to her.
Right.
Because he's not a deadbeat. He's not a deadbeat, but when you work for the union, sometimes you get unemployed, and there's lapses in work and unemployment, and it just racked up over the years. But he did 5 years in apprenticeship for the pipe fitters, and he's a journeyman now. So he was able to accomplish that. But again, unemployment and whatever. Right. So, but we got him all caught up, and I made sure that even though it would have been nice for my family, that she got it, and I think that has helped, because even though she was not very nice to start with, Alyssa has come a long way.
Well, that's good. I am glad to hear that. I'm glad to see that you're working in other realms to try and ensure that, because really it's just benefiting the children, and benefiting those children in such a capacity will ultimately benefit the good of man and society, that they're not broken and torn apart through something that doesn't need to transpire.
Right, absolutely not. I mean, there's no reason to be hostile after a relationship ends.
Shouldn't have to. Yeah.
When a woman takes the children away from the man who has not been abusive, it is I feel like it cries out to God for vengeance, because that child has now been affected.
Right.
For its entire world viewpoint is now it's been minimized, and they're lacking in love and knowledge from what they should. They should be allowed to know the history of their family, and who both their parents are, and where they come from, and everything.
Right.
This is why I also don't necessarily agree with adoption.
Yeah.
I have, especially overseas adoption, I feel like robbing a child of their cultural experience is maybe not the greatest thing.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, that's something that we talked about. I talked about that this morning, the Indian Child Welfare Act and ICWA, and why it's here. Libertarians really believe that ICWA is unconstitutional, and I would have to agree with them on the constitutionality of it. But I would disagree that it's not needed when the states were for many years trafficking Native children off of these reservations, and even now they continue to ignore the Indian Child Welfare Act, which that very purpose is to keep them with their family members first, and somebody in their tribe, their community second. But they don't do that a lot of times. Even with those available grandparents or aunts or uncles, they'll still take them out of the tribe and put them into the foster care system.
Yeah, and don't they get more money for Indian children?
I don't know. That would be an interesting thing to know.
Yeah, maybe we should look into that.
We should. Yeah. When you say we, do you mean you?
Yes.
Can I get you to look into that for me?
I don't full plate.
I bet you do. Gee, oh Lord, I bet you do have a full plate. Holy cow!
I have crimes that
I'll
we can
find
look
it.
into.
I'll find it. The topic interests me enough that I'll find it. In fact, I mean, that's the other great part about this is people are listening to you, and I bet you somebody's already Googling that right now. If I had a bet,
That would be amazing. I think if we could, crowdsource some information,
yeah.
and whoever finds that, please cite your source.
Well, that's one reason. That's one reason we're going over to Patreon, right? Is that we can get away from the censorship. We can have that source sharing, and that's one of the largest benefits to my Patreon account is that I am extremely connected across the country. I know people. I mean, the best part about knowing people like that and developing and fostering friendships the way that I do is that a lot of people misconstrue it as using people, and it's not. It's building relationships, and when you have people that you are intentional about building relationships with, and you spend time with them, and you get to know them, and just learn who they are as human beings, then you're likely to help one another. And I can go anywhere in this country, and I can have a house to stay. I'm confident to say I could go to any state in this nation and have a home to stay in that I would be comfortable staying in.
That's excellent. And that's why you got to keep doing what you're doing, because you're raising the collective knowledge of everyone. Because a lot of people don't understand the issue at hand, and they don't grasp it because we're led to believe that our institutions are actually looking out for our well-being.
Right. They're not. They're only looking out for those institutions and those who are benefiting. And unfortunately, a lot of the poor workers there, they see a lot of this, but they're not going to say anything either. They're afraid of reprisals. They're afraid of speaking out, just like the military is, just like police officers. They have that thin blue, or the blue curtain within the police. They've got something similar in the military where you don't speak about things because you're afraid of reprisals and how people are going to look at you, which is why we established whistleblower protection acts, which don't protect anybody when you're tattling on government. When you tattle on the judges, oh no, they're going to take your kids from you.
Well, the good news is I feel like the judge in our case is actually level-headed.
That's good. I mean, I'm glad to hear that. And when we hear that, we do want to promote those good judges when they're making good decisions and they're really taking the time and the energy to, number one, first protect the parents' rights, because that comes first and foremost. Not the state statutes, not none of their bullshit. What comes first is the parents, either one of them, unfit, or are they both fit? You should be presumed fit in the eyes of the court. Unfortunately, they use that emergency order of protection program, that rubber stamping program, to tarnish the name of one of the individuals out the gate.
Yeah, it's definitely inequitable and not fair on any level. I feel like divorce could be handled a lot better. Divorce attorneys are one of the most popular attorneys besides criminal. And finding a family attorney is also very difficult. There just aren't very many. And if you go against DCF, then you're even more pool that people would be willing to represent you.
Right. Absolutely.
It's concerning that there are attorneys who are not willing to take on any agency. That is a head scratcher.
Right. There's not a lot.
You would think that they're invested in justice, but I think that it's easier for them to look the other way because of the money flow. You don't want to be labeled as standing against the system,
right?
If you're an attorney. But there's people like Connie Reguli, so that's good.
Yeah, she is a powerhouse. I mean, she's the only one that I know that fights CPS the way that she does.
She walks the walk and she talks the talk. She does everything she's supposed to do.
Right. She gets a lot of criticism and skepticism around her, because she's an attorney. Same as Melissa Isaac gets that. Ted Bush, not so much. Stephen Johnson, I don't,
I have never even heard of those guys, but I will definitely look them up.
Yep. Carson Tucker, I'll tell you what, there's a Trojan horse out there and his name's Carson Tucker.
Okay.
Trojan, no, I'm sorry, not Trojan horse. What's the other phrase? I screw this up all the time. The dark horse. He's the dark horse. Carson Tucker is the dark horse that no one has heard of. This guy is a phenom. If you look up any attorney that has the capability of destroying this system, oh, Blair Dunn's another one. He's out of New Mexico. But Carson Tucker, he's currently on the front lines of leading the battle of defending veterans' disability benefits that they receive from the Veterans Administration. What people don't realize in this country is that those disability benefits are protected underneath 38 USC 5301. What the states have continued to rely upon is this outdated Supreme Court case known as Rose v. Rose. It was post Rose v. Rose that Congress came back and closed this back door to the states in taking veterans' disability benefits. They came back and said, again, no, you can't fucking do that, right? And they passed additional measures to protect veterans' disability benefits. But the states continue to circumvent federal law, break federal law. And the best case to look at in this one is that case Foster v. Foster. It's a Michigan Supreme Court case that it was a recent ruling, and it's my friend Ray Foster. I know the guy, okay? And I know Carson Tucker. I speak to both of them frequently. And the Michigan Supreme Court ordered $72,000 in restitution, and that disability pay be reimbursed back to Ray Foster from his ex-wife. Now they screwed him, okay, because he's been fighting this battle for 6 years, spent over $150,000, and they did not award him any attorney fees at all.
Oh my goodness.
Only the disability, but it's still a huge win. Now they could, I think, go back, and I think Carson Tucker could take that to the Supreme Court and appeal to the Supreme or to the U.S. Supreme Court rather. He could appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court to try and recoup some of that $150,000 that Ray Foster had spent.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So if you're interested at all in this issue and what I'm talking about here, and if you know any veterans, start asking. Most people don't know that veterans, and especially the veteran community, they don't know that the states don't lack jurisdiction, right? Because of the supremacy clause of the Constitution, the Secretary of the VA is the only authority. They have the sole discretionary authority over those monies. It is not income by the federal definition. It's not income. So the states will get crafty with their wording, and they'll take the word income off. Like if you have to do a financial affidavit, they'll take the word income off and they'll put, do you receive any other cash monies or any other monies instead of putting income? That's how they'll dance around that. I saw Illinois do that because they revised their shit after I called them out on it.
Wow. So they'll do anything.
They'll do anything.
Any money available to
Right.
any person to pass off to the other party.
Mm-hmm. And what does this do? Most of these veterans, right, and those with disabilities like myself, 70% of my disability rating is for major depressive disorder, okay? That depression stems directly from my circumstances involving the family courts. The financial devastation, not seeing my children, having my career tarnished, having my name tarnished, all of these things, but they order me as well to turn over my veterans disability benefits. And that's the money they're saying that I owe $7,400 in back child support on. Essentially, the state of Illinois orders me to turn over my disability benefits to my ex-wife, my veterans disability benefits. And people need to know the difference in veterans disability and Social Security disability. Veterans disability is a compensation fund for the degradation of mind and body during the course of service. For instance, I didn't have 4 hernias at 17 years old when I went in the Navy. I developed 4 hernias through all of the crazy, redonkulous lifting and shit that we had to do in the military. And I worked out and I lifted heavy weight. God knows where I got the hernias. But regardless, I get compensated for that, right? Because it's a degradation of the body. The arthritis and scar tissue that's in my knees and shoulders and wrists, I get like 10 or 15% like per joint. Okay, it's a compensation to reimburse you to bring you as near whole as they can. It is not Social Security disability, right? So people need to understand that. That's a huge educational point that people don't get, and they need to educate themselves on, right? And that. Go ahead.
So what can we do to make people more aware about the difference between VA disability and Social Security disability? We could all post. We could post about it, and we could post the cases if you have Facebook.
Well, what I would like to do, I'd like to go beyond that. I would like to get Carson Tucker, myself, and some other veterans on tour in the United States. That's what I would like to do. I would like to get them on a speaking tour about how, number one, discussing the systemic problem, right? I think that we should have a core group of veterans traveling state to state and discussing in depth, because there's many veterans like myself. Kyle Paskowitz is a great person that speaks about these issues up in Washington State. There's just a ton of veterans out there that they know these issues as well as I do. They can articulate the problems and the solutions we need. And the country needs this. The country needs our veterans coming forward and going, you know what, enough's enough. We're going to speak out in a real public way against these issues. And I think that would draw out far more people than social media. But that is another reason I'm moving over to Patreon, to get away from that censorship. Whenever I share my stuff with my supporters, all of my supporters get it. It's not filtered out from them.
Man. All right. Well, I have a baby that.
I hear that. Yeah, we're gonna let you go, Mom. You need to get to work.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on, Ruth. It was a real joy to have you on.
Yeah, we'll do this again sometime.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Got to get to mom duties. So we continue to drop truth bombs, knowledge bombs. We're trying to teach more. So a huge portion of the homeless veteran population is as a result of the states telling them to give their money to their ex-wives. It's almost completely men, right? Not entirely. I don't want to march, Leonard. I don't want to march. I don't want to do a rally. I don't really want to do a protest. I want to build. I want to innovate. I want to network. I want to bring all of us together and work together to systematically change it. Right? One of the best ways I can do that, and any of you that have been like myself, you've been involved in this for a long time, you're on the front lines, you invest hundreds and hundreds of hours into this every month. Go over to Patreon. You're going to have to join me there, because the days of broadcasting on Facebook will slowly begin to come down, right? And a lot of my shows and conversations and content will be exclusively on Patreon. Why? Because here I'm just generating all of this media and content for Facebook. I'm not getting any money on these live feeds. I'm not getting anything. I invest thousands of hours a year having discussions, right? And it's time that I was compensated for what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is furthering that message in the voice of this issue as much as I can, wherever I can, however I can. That's what we want to do. If we want to change it, we honestly have to invest in one another. Stop funding the attorneys. Stop funding the system. You don't even have to support me. Go support somebody else that's doing something similar or completely different, or form your own thing. I don't care. I don't believe that investing in more building more social media platforms like on Facebook and shit is the answer, because we've been doing this now for years and there's just hundreds and hundreds of groups and pages, and it's certainly getting the word out there. It is. But ultimately, then you have a lot of people overlapping, of course, and liking all of the same pages. And how many numbers are truly out there, we just really don't know. Especially those of us who are communicating and networking within this underground movement. And it's not really underground. I mean, I mean to the degree that it's a niche. There's not a lot of us out here doing it full time like this. What? Tammy, you are amazing. Thank you so much. So you're gonna have to bear with me too as I figure out Patreon. It's just a completely different platform. I intend on a lot of that being where I share more of my, more of my intimate side. A lot of that creation. It's going to happen there. It is. And we have to go places, and we have to divest from, if platforms are censoring us, if they are, really gotten to the point where they're using us and abusing us. They don't deserve our time, energy, and money. All right, I'm going to continue to broadcast here through Facebook for a while, as I get more and more people informed about my Patreon, right, and I grow that base inside there. I mean, this is a perfect example. There's like 28,000 people nearly that follow my page, and every single day I get so many messages. People call me and they tell me, Cash, I'm signed up for notifications and I don't get them. My mom doesn't. My brother doesn't. They're signed up for notifications and they still don't get them. You send messages off to Facebook, they don't do anything. Twitter deleted my my entire. I had another verified page, which it's not easy to get a verified page, but it helps with reaching larger audiences. And both of my pages were verified here on Facebook and on Twitter. And that means you get a little check mark. No, it doesn't mean I'm important or more important than you. It just means that there's enough material out there about me that they can verify who I was. And why they can't do that for other people, I don't know. But you know how it is, right? They make this little special category, right? And give your little, like you're better than other people. It don't mean shit. It's just a fucking check mark. Where it was important to me is that you could reach a larger audience, right? And you could grow your platforms more rapidly as a verified account. But Twitter deleted mine. No explanation as to why they deleted it. And yeah, Tammy, it took me a minute to really kind of process it. I'm like, you went to Subway and got a $3 sandwich? I might have COVID. Who knows? But anyways, that's about it for tonight's show. Going back to that gentleman that was walking on the side of the road in the rain today as I was headed to church with my brother. And oh yeah, happy birthday to my nephew Riggs. I love you, buddy. Uncle Cash misses you already, and it was great seeing you. You guys did fantastic. I got a nephew named Cash too. He's so freaking funny. These guys whipped my ass today at the house after church. I know I went down a rabbit hole. I'm sorry. I love my nephews and nieces. But I'm going to share some of that content in the Patreon group of my nephews beating the hell out of me, and they did. Nearly ripped my scalp off. You get some good video. But my heart's troubled by what I experienced today, and this man not clearly not, it wasn't just, yeah, you're a creepy white guy, Cash, and of course, people will take it completely out of context and blow it up and be like, look at this creepy white guy wanting to pick up fucking black dudes and can't figure out why they look at him with a suspicious eye. I know, I get it. right? I get it. But my heart, breaks nonetheless for our country that we can't help one another out without, you know, and a lot of that is due to the social engineering and conditioning by mainstream media and government teaching us that we have all of these differences and focusing on these differences with little to no emphasis on how we're just alike, right? That we all have this capacity for pain, to hurt, to be injured, to need healing and love and a warm food and a warm bed and a hot meal, right? As human beings, we need these things, and they're being stripped away from us. We're being divided against one another, and consumerism and materialism has driven through the roof. I get asked all the time. People see I've got a couple watches, right? This one and another one, right? Nothing super fancy, and people comment all the time, and which I think it's a nice looking watch. I didn't think it looked as good um, as the amount of comments I've gotten about it. Have I worded that all fucked up? You get my point. It's a cheap watch, right? It's not an expensive watch, but I get comments about it all the time, and I paid $15 for it, and I'll keep it until hopefully, well, it falls apart. $15 at Target. You know what I mean? The same with my podcast. I did buy this nice MacBook Air. I will say that from supporters, they were able to help me get a decent laptop, and I love it. It's made a world of difference. I got to replace this shit phone. It's like one of my big things is taking photos, and a lot of the reason I take my photos is because I know that my kids can see, and they do see my social media sometimes. I don't know when or how often they're able to, but I like to share my world with my kids. And since I can't see them or talk to them, I just hope that that somebody sees them, or I hope that my kids see them, or somebody sees them and shows them to my children. That they remember me and love me enough that you know that was my pathetic way of saying I've got to get a new phone, right? uh, because this is my profession, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to get a nice phone, a decent phone, and a more expensive phone plan than what I care for. Right? I'm that straight talk guy. Gets the $100 phone at Walmart. That's me. That's what I can afford, and that's. But uh, this is a. It's not just a business, right? It's personal for me, right? It's about my kids, and I have to generate really good content, and I want good pictures of my nephews and nieces. And yeah, I'll give y'all a teaser. Hold on, you guys will like this. Hold on. I'm gonna give you a glimpse, and I'm gonna put some of these up in Patreon for you guys to see. Oh hush. Oh, this one's the best. Hold on. What the heck? Oh, there you go. So, we wrestled for like 25 minutes, man. It was awesome. They terrorized the hell out of me. That's my nephews, Riggs and Cash, man, and they're uh, man, those kids are all boy. I mean, they are hell on wheels, both of them. They're like their dad. They're like their family. You know, they got that stuff honest. They was giving me hell today. um, and then spent some time with my niece Riley too. She is wicked talented, very intelligent young lady. She's really well written for her age. Incredibly gifted. I can't wait to see her um, work on her writing. I got her a little journal, and she asked me today. She says, "Uncle Cash, you want to?" She wrote out a birthday card for her little brother Riggs, and she asked me, "Uncle Cash, you want to sign the birthday card?" And I said, "Sure." And just super sweet. She created a whole birthday card in her little journal that I got her for her younger brother for his birthday and for his 5-year birthday. Just melted my heart though to see them and the love between them. It's amazing, right? And kids need that. God, they need that, man. They need that. They need that time um, wrestling and playing and just laughter. And as parents, your kids deserve to have you at home more, not at work more, not breaking your back more, right? Not paying the government more money. Kids need more of that. They need their aunts and uncles there. They need their grandparents there. They need to spend time with them. We're denying entire generations of whole sides of families, and they're missing out on those experiences and the ability to get shaped and to have personal growth and the love and support and the kinship with their family members. That's a tragedy that's happening in this country, and we've normalized it. I oppose that, man. I want to be a good uncle, a good brother, a good brother-in-law. You know, I want to be a good dad, right? Maybe one of these days I'll get to be a dad again. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm tough, man. I let them boys roughhouse with me and just whip on me, and you know, I give them hell too. Um, and their dad has done an amazing job with those kids, right? He is. Those kids love him. I'll tell you what. Watching my brother interact with his children, you know, all of my brothers, to see them interact with their kids, and I've got one brother who unfortunately doesn't see some of his children like me, and I'm not going to go into his personal story or discuss his issues there. Um, but it's a tragedy that we have so many kids and relatives missing out on that, and you become so emotionally scarred and detached. Like I didn't even realize how far I had distanced myself from Louisiana and my family. How far I had allowed myself to just after 20 years in the military and then 4 years still away from home. I stayed away from Louisiana really most of my life. I would come home on leave, and as a young man, we partied a lot. That's all we did. I mean, we went out and party. I came home on leave and we blew off steam. We just partied. We hung out with family, of course, too, and but that was how it was, and that's what a lot of service members do today. They come home, they want to blow off steam, they want to let it all out after being under the thumb of the military, the federal government. Jesus, yeah, you got a lot of steam you got to blow off. This is all the more reason, Wesley, why we have to unite and come together. I'm asking all of my family, friends, anyone that I know to join the Libertarian Party, to do so vocally, openly, that you're joining because family law needs to be reformed. The other two parties refuse to do it. And you're going to join in a place where at least their vice presidential candidate was quite vocal and intelligently saying and acknowledging the issues in family court. No other party's done that. That's the rotten, God honest truth, and you can't dispute that. Okay, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have not adopted this platform issue. Only the Libertarian Party candidates have begun doing that. I like to think I played a small part in that. Because I did. We can change everything in this country. We can. It's not impossible. We can do it. I love this guy. This one's live, Ira. It's a live feed. I'm in the broadcast here in a minute anyhow. I'm going to spend some time with Mama Jackson. I've only got another day or so here, and I'm back on the road again. And I'll be broadcasting from places unknown. Many of us, Tammy, have felt hopeless, completely hopeless. And that's the difference, right? We have to embrace this this purpose, right? I think many of us out there have felt as though we no longer knew who we were. We lost our identity through all of this. We lost all of our identity, and we're having a difficult time discovering who we are as men and women in this country after being broken by the court systems, by the overreach of the executive branch, by the ridiculously unconstitutional state statutes and ordinances and penal codes that they have passed. How can you trust the state? All right? How can you trust the people that are churning out trillions of dollars, American taxpayer dollars, eaten up and taken from you and your kids? Think about it. This isn't that complex, right? Once you really begin to look at it, it's not that complex. There's a lot of players making a lot of money, and our kids are what they're using. Be the direct cause of 70% of my disability rating, right? And then order me, so they break me, right? They break me. In every way, emotionally and mentally and financially, right? Broke me down until I was ready to kill myself. And then on top of that, the disability pay that I get after they broke me, the disability pay that I get, hold on a sec, somebody's calling. They want to tell me to turn that over. Hold on. That's one of my field reporters, Tony.
Hey, how's it going?
Tony, we're live right now, buddy. What you got?
Well, I don't know. I just wanted to call to say hi, and I didn't know that you were live, but I hope that all's well. Shout out, everybody. How you doing?
Yeah, man. How's the dude? How DC go, man? I did see in the news today that there was a lot of physical violence over there. Apparently.
Yeah, we had a lot of videos of ours blocked. Some of them turned out to be green screen. Where
that's Frank.
Police. This is Frank, sir. Yes.
Gotcha. I just want to introduce you because you're on a lot. You're on the network right now.
Yeah, I heard.
Okay. All right. So just want to make sure that you knew you were live.
Around and try to rejuvenate these videos as much as possible. Get them out on all these different platforms. so that we can see some of the truth that is happening as opposed to what's being force-fed by the other media companies.
Right. Right. Well, I've got an idea. I'm not going to put it out there just yet. I want to talk to you guys first, Frank and Tony, and I think y'all are going to like it. I think that we've got a capability here that we didn't realize, and we can do something really big, really soon. Actually,
All right, sounds good.
we can do something pretty large and pretty amazing if we bring our heads together here real quick.
All right, well, we'll talk off air on that one, sir.
Okay. Well, so DC quiet now. Are you guys still there?
No, we're back in New York.
Back in New York. All right, man. Well,
there was supposedly at 5 o'clock this afternoon, there was a dance party that we were invited to go film that was all Antifa. But unfortunately, we have some trial to conduct tomorrow morning, so we had to come back to New York for that.
And once again, we do not offer any legal advice.
thanks. Hey,
You may be entitled to damages.
well, you're news correspondent. So all you're doing is delivering the news anyway right now, right? You're on the clock. You're volunteering. So if you call me and you say, yeah, I'll be on your broadcast, to me, that essentially means you're on duty for the Veteran Liberty Network.
Yes.
Right. And that means you're volunteering your time in a nonprofit capacity. And so you're only doing your journalistic integrity of reporting the truth, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I don't see the fucking problem.
Filtered. Using all of my mental capacity.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate people actually thinking for themselves.
And they may be limited.
That's true. Yeah, you're entirely correct. That's something that we don't bring up very much. They might be limited in that capacity for depth of conversation and dialogue.
Absolutely, and that's how I think that we got to start. That might be how we solve a lot of our issues here on this country, actually in the country and around the planet, is questioning the mental capacity of our officials.
Yeah.
Because it brings you full immunity. And that's the message I want to spread to everyone that's online right now.
You're not lying.
That's very important, and I'm not lying.
Oh, well. I don't know if these people are stupid or just evil or both.
I think they're both, sir.
Yeah. Well.
And also, everyone out there listening in right now, thank you for listening and watching and everything. And one of our stories that we plan to bring to you very, very soon, it's been taking months of inquiries, is figuring out why judges of the family courts and the Supreme Courts in many states, we focus on New York mainly, are on Bloomberg.com with a current price under their names for millions of dollars.
Oh, I bet you we can bring that up on the broadcast.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
We're getting our substantive paperwork in order so that it's just not a good faith allegation.
Right.
But it can be documented and demonstrated beyond clear and convincing that it is the indisputable truth.
Good. Good.
Yeah, I mean, because my name ain't on the stock market.
Right.
I know my kids' names aren't. I mean, I don't.
Don't sovereign citizens though allege that we're being traded on the stock market?
Well, I think that whole term is just for anyone who scrutinizes the judicial system.
Oh, that's how they use it. Yeah, they do a broad stroke of the brush.
Yeah, I mean, I've never actually heard maybe but 2 or 3 people when I was actually staying somewhere one time past my voluntary capacity, because none of it was. And I saw people claiming that they were actually sovereign citizens.
Yeah.
And I read some of their stuff, but I never hopped on it. But at the end of the day, we actually know this is not our opinions. There's a lot more going on than any application of law in the system.
Well, you know what? I hate to say, I'm not discounting those that are sovereign citizens. I want to make that clear, right? That the sovereign citizen community at large gets a bad rap. I think oftentimes what the media has done is they've captured, say, some individual asserting his natural rights in front of a city council or in front of a judge or something to that degree. And what you're witnessing is a man or woman at their wits fucking end, right? That's what you're witnessing. And they've spent a tremendous amount of time researching the state and its formation and how the control mechanisms work. And so there could be a lot of validity to what they say. And more people I know are researching and learning more about it. I just haven't went far enough down that rabbit hole to embrace that when I'm still trying to dissect Title IV funding.
What I think is that, you know, how we see these people coming into this school of thought, because that's pretty much all I would say it could clearly be established as, is that, you know, they come to this school of thought because, you know, they're running out of hope, and this journey, you know, is just very, very complex in finding out how judges render these decisions, you know, and to the point where their immunity transgresses into the age of senility. And we see that happening a lot in New York.
Right.
You know, so it's like some of these judges like really should, you know, be evaluated, you know, by the public. And we see some of them that actually have different things like Tourette's syndrome and stuff. I'm not saying that in any biased way or prejudicial way against anyone with Tourette's syndrome, but I don't think that some of these judges are actually mentally fit anymore.
Yeah.
But the thing is, their role and what they're bringing with these funds being transferred and how they can uphold anything without even satisfying the preponderance of the evidence in times. It's
right.
not conjecture. This is a fact.
Yeah, no fucking evidence. Exactly. No evidence. I mean, Jesus, dude.
And we can tie this right into the election fraud right now, because we see people in all these states putting forth affidavits, swearing upon the penalty of perjury, saying this is what they saw happen, this is what they know is true, and it's bringing, you know, shedding light on the power of what the affidavit is supposed to do. Because all we can clearly say, and, you know, I don't think this makes you a sovereign citizen, is that how can I swear to the penalty of perjury, or you, Cass Jackson, do the same, and we can have evidence, and it gets brushed under the table, the records get manipulated, so you can't do your appeal, and it's just a circle jerk.
Yep.
That's all it is.
That's it. That's it. You know, if they want to block your access to the appeals court, they've got multiple channels to do that. I mean, the first block is stripping you of your finances.
And attorneys only have to do affirmations, and they're officers of the court.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, this is good faith right here. And I'm not making allegations over the podcast, but what I do believe could be true now is we see some attorneys in this system, you know, taking advantage of some of these judges' limited mental capacity. And what they're doing is taking advantage of these judges' own rules, or how they are actually conducting themselves through their law clerks and stuff.
Right.
And that there's nothing truly being reviewed. Some things aren't even being done on a record at all. It's in
right.
judges'
chambers. A lot of it's off the record in judges' chambers. Why is that? What possible reason could they have to take a public court case into closed chambers?
Yeah, well, I mean, how do we even know what?
We have no idea what they talked about at all. You have no clue. You just think they're back there deciding what's best for you and your kids. It's a fucking game to them. It's a racket. It's just like they're playing with people's lives. They're playing God is what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because one of the things, actually what I was calling in for is that we were just on Facebook and YouTube on the way back here, and we saw that Miko Hayes, the journalist of the Discuss podcast, he posted a video of the Thomas Valva case with an exchange happening in front of the home of Justina. And, you know, the Veteran Liberty Network just the other day intervened as a third-party intervener into that case, because currently they're trying to close it off to the public. And, you know, because sexual abuse allegations were made. So now we see, you know, we had to intervene in this, and how we are understanding. And yes, we're not lawyers or attorneys. We're not practicing any law. We're trying to figure out how we apply the law and the truth, and how our Constitution is supposed to play its important role here while we're in the United States of America. And every swinging person, well, I'll refrain from using any words.
Hey, go on with your bad self, man. Get it out. Shit.
Every swinging dick and doggone Muldoon.
Fire and damnation. Let that ass have it, Tony.
Yeah, so there are so many inconsistencies in this case, and just because there's been a sexual abuse allegation when the public already knows that there was sexual abuse going on, there's no reason to close the court, because guess what? The general public has a right to know what was going on here and the levels and the levels of severity that it reached, because of all the people that were acting under the color law in the county, multiple agencies, attorneys. And it's a massive failure of the system. And these were not just mistakes. These were intentional things done. We had orders of protection that were not being put into the federal registry, into the Department of Justice or police registry. And the reason they're supposed to do that is if someone should cross state lines to break an order of protection, then it becomes a federal issue. So they did everything they could to cover up what they were facilitating. They had material support, aiding and abetting by everyone involved, judges making orders without even having jurisdiction, which is nothing new in New York, and it still continues to this day.
No jurisdiction. No jurisdiction.
No jurisdiction, but an attorney can come before a judge and get whatever they want. And, you know, it really makes me wonder what application of the law they are applying, because, you know, we just started figuring out the other day these different ways that they can remove people or, you know, mentally incapacitated people. When you come forward, you have immunity. Now, when it involves a child, you have criminal and civil immunity. So that's very interesting. But when it includes an adult here in New York, you only have civil. But you can you could pretty much abduct a child using a peace officer who has no idea what's going on, maybe, without ever going before a judge. And then that's how the parent becomes the respondent eventually. So very interesting stuff. But we intervened in that case the other day because we wanted to really, you know, challenge, you know, why anyone would want to close a court when the public knew that it was already sexual abuse that existed. But what we actually saw way before the Veteran Liberty Network was started was that the mainstream media prior to COVID used to pack the courts. We couldn't even get in as the general public into this case. So we used to have to stack the door when they would have some sort of a recess so that we can get in. And now with COVID, no one's even showing up.
No one, yeah.
But a few people. We don't see the media talking.
What did they sell us?
Anymore.
What did they sell us, Tony? For the good of the public, all court hearings will be via Zoom or some other stupid fucking conferencing software, right? That it was for the good of the people. Yet I see them ordering myself, my buddy who's a veteran, prior spec war guy, prior CIA guy, in Wisconsin. They order us to appear in court in person, while they've got public disclaimers out there saying that all court hearings will be via Zoom. Lake County, Illinois literally has on their YouTube channel a public service announcement with my judge, Janelle Christensen, the current judge, saying on video that for the good of the public, all court hearings will be via Zoom. Unless you're Cash fucking Jackson, then they're in person.
A lot of this, and we've even seen them conducting trials.
Targeting secret trials. These are secret hearings. All right, isn't that what's called a star chamber? Isn't that what that is?
Last time I checked, and I was reading an article today, which was talking about Australia and saying how pretty much their entire system. I mean, I don't know what their family law system looks like.
Like this. It looks just like this. And the UK, same way.
I could take a big chop at it and wonder why. I do have confirmation that Australia and the United States is highly dependent on a private corporation by the name of Maximus Incorporated.
Maximus. I think it's a communist front. Here's what I think, Tony. Call me Alex Jones if you want. I think that in the 60s, we never cleared all these fucking communists out. I think that between China and Russia, they have extensively worked to build their underground by catering to those on the lowest part of the economic ladder, being those living at and below the poverty line. they've pushed these domestic relations laws to push the father out of the picture, thereby making the mother more susceptible to having the children taken from her via child protective services, thereby leading more children into human trafficking conditions, resulting in millions of children growing up in this country with mental, emotional, and behavioral disorders. And it's breaking down the fabric of our society because we don't have kids being raised by fathers, and our nation is being torn apart by these really shitty domestic policies. I think it's fucking communism, dude.
Oh yeah, and today I believe there were 800 plus names of Chinese agents listed on the internet that were working with U.S. officials.
Yeah,
So
I hadn't even seen the fucking news today. I've been so busy.
Well, I didn't see that on the news. That was on Twitter. But
okay,
and this is all coming from the team of Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood and other people on the internet that have these platforms.
Right.
But it's. I don't think that we're going to hear it from the MSM. I think that we're just going to believe, we're going to be bombarded with more of this COVID and vaccination stuff,
right,
while Americans are fighting each other in the streets.
The military. Hey, let me say this to the military, right? Because my buddy Tony here, right? He's a veteran himself. I need to get this out there. Veterans are getting this fucking wrong, right? There's a bunch of them. They are so naive that they think that this choice or that this shot, this vaccination, is going to be voluntary, right? Here's what they're leaving out. It's voluntary until the FDA puts its stamp on approval, which is expected to take place in the next 18 to 24 months, which I would imagine will probably be fast track once Biden takes office and they do a full court press on this. And then all of these veterans, or I'm sorry, these service members, they're going to get forced vaccinated under threat that if they don't take that vaccination, they're going to get a dishonorable discharge and kicked out of the fucking military, and shame will follow them for the rest of their lives. That's the threat. Take the vaccination or we're going to kick you the fuck out. If you make any waves, we're going to kick you the fuck out, right? Or we'll ruin your career. We'll ruin your life. We'll intimidate you. We'll bully you. That's what the military does. They don't. Right. And that is, I'm going to be critical of a lot of aspects of the military. They do that to their service members.
Absolutely. And then after you get all the shots, you go outside and the taco truck pays you $10 to take a sample of your blood and gives you Gatorade and a cookie.
Yeah. It's crazy. People don't realize what they're doing to the military. Okay. And we got to tell them, as somebody who spent 20 years in the Navy, I got an obligation to tell you, it's not everything they make it out to be. There's a lot of great aspects to the military. I don't want to take that away, right? I've made a lot of awesome memories, developed some great skill sets that I can use for a lot of things that have helped me in my life. There's some great parts of the military, but there are some really fucked up things in the military that we need to talk about. Well, dude, hey, Tony, man, I appreciate you and Frank dialing in for a few minutes. It's always good to catch up with my East Coast correspondent / I don't know what we're going to title all of ourselves. My grunge journalist.
Yeah. Well, last night that was pretty fun in the back of the rickshaw, the bicycle guy. That was pretty cool, and Frank was pushing the wagon, and people thought that he was training for a fight.
That's funny.
But it's really motivating with the music and everything. I liked it a lot. It was very powerful.
Good. Well, man, I'm glad you guys were safe out there and you got some good content, and you kept eyes on the ground for this citizen journalist underground, where we can take care of one another, look out for one another, and let each other know what's going on in the country, and tell the truth exactly how we see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, well, I'll be signing off here. Big shout out to everyone out there that's speaking up and not afraid to speak up. Please, the time is now to come forward with everything. Let's not just focus on Trump or Biden or whatever, because regardless of the names, we're always going to have issues here around the world, and it's up to us to actually fix them on our own with our meeting of the minds. But if we're going to continue to allow people to usurp our authority, we're going to get screwed.
We're going to get fucked. That's it.
Yeah. So please, people, God bless y'all. I'll message you in a little bit, Cash. But hope you have a great evening.
Appreciate it, bud. You guys be safe up there.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye.
Good dudes right there, man. Good guys, good solid guys. And those are the type of people I want to surround myself with. Just good solid people that they've got mistakes, they've got shit in their past, right? I've looked it up. Don't even give a fuck, right? Because I know the drill. I know the drill. I know how it works. They're going to go, Cash Jackson hangs out with bad people. Yep. Friends in low places. Those are my friends. That's where I come from. There's a country song out there. This is where I come from, right? This is it. It's where I come from. I'm not ashamed of it. So let me throw up this outro. See if I get this shit right. I'm going to take myself out of the broadcast. Well, let's see here. If you guys haven't already, man, go over to my Patreon account. It's scrolling down on the bottom, patreon.com/Cash Jackson. Been talking so much. I'm dehydrated and I'm hungry. Let's get this outro going. It's quick. I want a longer outro. CJ's supposed to make me a longer outro. Let me look. See if he gave me one. This guy's amazing, man. I've got to really. Oh, hey, do y'all want to see that other one? There's another intro that CJ made. It was really good, and I think you guys should give him some feedback on the next show. He'll be back on Monday producing for me. So look for us tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to 11-ish, roughly. We go as long as we want or short as we want, right? 2 hours, 5 hours, 1 hour, whatever. But yeah, if you guys want, I can play this other one. I played the original intro. So if you saw that one, or if you just came on and didn't get to see the intro at all, it's powerful, man. It's moving. I love it. I love what CJ did there. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to play it, man. I love this. Bill Clinton in that blue dress painting. Creepy assholes. Ira. Tammy says, give her a call. Ira is a great guy. If you need a person, okay, to help you reframe your mind and how you perceive the information and how you deal with it when you get it, there's some really important skills that you can develop, right? Ira Scott is a buddy of mine. I've known him since 2016. I never did any of that with him. And this is what he does. He has 2 degrees in psychology. He's wicked smart. He comes from a wicked smart bloodline. His father had an economics degree from Harvard University, worked extensively within the economy and finances, and was friends with Milton Friedman, right? And he's a world-renowned economist, brilliant guy. So Ira comes from that stock. What I'm saying is, if you need somebody to talk to, call that guy. Call Ira, right? Talk to him. He's brilliant. He'll talk your ear off probably more than I will, but he's a smart fucking dude. He's got his own baggage. He's got his own problems. He hasn't seen his kids in over 5, or hasn't seen his daughter in over 5 years. She was trafficked out of the country. Okay. And the State Department won't do a fucking thing about it. FBI won't do anything about it. Right. They don't care. They're indifferent to our suffering. And so Ira suffers alongside the rest of us, but he spends a lot of time helping others and investing in others and pouring his heart out. He's a good soul. He's a good spirit. So tell him that I sent you. I don't get shit from him. He might let me crash at his place and use his barbecue grill and maybe drive one of his Porsches. Maybe. I don't know. I scared him the last time, I think. But I love all of you. Thank you for the support. CJ, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. I know you're probably off with Kendall and your family. So you do that. And I'm going to... Oh. Hey. Well, thanks, Tammy. Thanks for offering that to people. So there you have it. Now, this comes with a disclaimer, okay? Be smart, right? You don't know people out there. Be fucking smart. Don't be stupid. If somebody seems creepy, they probably are creepy. Okay. Go with your gut instinct, trust, ask questions, verify that people are who they say they are. I've got enough information out there on me, and I've done more live feeds than probably any other human being out there. I'd like to know how many hours of live feeds I've done. I think Facebook should give me like a record or something. I'm willing to bet I've probably done more live feeds than fucking any person, because honestly, this has been my counseling for over 4 years. This has been my therapy. This. I sit here and I talk to people and we discuss these issues and we learn more from one another and grow. So I've met a lot of good people, but I've met some batshit crazies out there too. Several. And I mean legitimately sawed off fucking crazy. I'm not going to say no names. I'm not trying to bash somebody with mental health issues, but they had legitimate, serious, scary mental health issues that they needed help with. So be careful meeting and talking to people you never met. Again, it's the fucking internet. And just because they're on this broadcast doesn't mean I know them or I'm vouching for them. If you don't hear me say I vouch for that guy or that woman, I can't tell you either way. Ira Scott, I'll vouch for. Good dude. Call him. Listen to what he has to say. If he's full of shit, tell him, Ira, you're full of shit. And Cash Jackson's a fucking asshole for sending me to you. And we'll have a good laugh at your expense, right? But I'm telling you, that's what he does for a living. And it's not some psychobabble bullshit about sitting there and just venting your feelings, right? To somebody who really could give a fuck less. Ira's lived it like the rest of us. Ira understands it. He understands the dynamics and how it works. And he can have a conversation and really, truly understand. And he's a professional in psychology. He just doesn't use it. Go see Ira. So I'm going to tell you, go see Ira. And Kimberlyn, thanks for joining us. And I appreciate you asking. Well, number one, this is the War is Hell podcast. My name is Cash Jackson. I'm a retired Navy veteran. And I'm an advocate for ending a lot of state overreach into our personal and individual lives. This is not a show for children at all. I am a retired Navy veteran. I did 20 years in the military. I've got a potty mouth, so I curse a lot. And I will use any salty ass language that I so choose. And so, but I'm respectful enough to let you know that on this show, it's kind of a no holds bar. I don't believe in these false dichotomies, I think is what they're called, of labeling ourselves into these categories that divides us from one another, right? At the end of the day, we're all human beings on the same rock. And that's kind of how I pursue my life. My principles and values include don't hurt people, don't take their shit, don't take shit off anybody else. And I don't. I got a big mouth. There's the crazy person, Jay Bright. See, Jay Bright doesn't have a picture, right? I don't know. You go over to Jay Bright's platform, and Jay Bright might not be very bright. Jay Bright might be really dim. I don't know. You need to verify that for yourself. Thanks for telling me to stay ornery and not horny. I appreciate that. I will drop sexual innuendos, and it's an adult podcast. It's an adult show, adult station. And if it offends you, well, feel free to, go someplace where they're more sensitive towards your feelings. I'm not very sensitive towards those. And if you can't take a joke, too fucking bad, right? You need to toughen up. Eventually, I'm going to have on people of all races, religions, backgrounds, everything. And I would really like to bring on, let's see here. I need one African American, or preferably African American, or black, whatever you want to say, whatever your preference is. I get both from both. An Asian person, a Hispanic person, Native American person, and I don't know, throw me in one other mixer, right? A Russian. Fuck it. Give me a Russian. And I want to have them all on the show. And I want to spend an entire hour or 2 hours or 4 hours talking about race. I want to have a completely open race relation discussion, just unfiltered. Say whatever the fuck comes to mind, right? If you want to call Cash Jackson a stupid white cracker, you can come on and call me a stupid white cracker or whatever else you want to say about me. I don't care. I don't care. And I'll be your punching bag, right? And we can break down stereotypes and jokes about the races. And we can fucking laugh about it together. And hang out and go our separate ways and still live really good productive lives. You know? So I'm going to have a show where I do that. And we're going to bring it out of the woodwork. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to smoke. This is probably going to be one of those late night sesh, right? It's going to be a late night sesh. Not for kids, not for the sensitive. All right? Because God knows what you're going to hear. You don't know. And if I can get veterans from those, oh my God, you guys are going to see a fucking show. Let me get a black veteran, an Asian veteran, a Hispanic veteran, a Native American veteran, any branches, don't care, prefer a good mix. Yep, plain white chick too. Bring them on. All right. And we'll break it all down. We'll break it all down working man style, working woman style. We'll laugh, we'll joke, we'll have some smoke, drink a beer, whatever. There we go. Boom. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Got Newton Jamal. And I didn't say chicken because it was a stereotype that I was going to associate with black people later on in that broadcast. I swear to God, hands down, was not going to say anything about Church's chicken or anything else. I swear to God, I wasn't. Don't stereotype me into that category just because I'm a white guy in Louisiana. Because that happens to me. I get stereotyped all the time. If I shave and I shorten my hair, I'm a fucking cop wherever I go. You know how hard it is to look like a cop and buy weed? Huh? Try that shit. You want to talk about privilege? It's easy. It's easy to go get weed if you're black, right? That's the stereotype. The stereotype is if you're black, you're a drug dealer or you live in a community of drug dealers. That's the stereotype. My stereotype is I'm a fucking cop. I'm 6'2", about 200 pounds. I look relatively fit. Unbeknownst to everybody else looking at me, I've got this hideous dad bod underneath this rugged, sexy exterior. I couldn't run from here to my fucking truck. My life depended on it. I laughed when the Secret Service agent at my house asked me if I still intended on scaling the White House fence. That was the fucking best, man. I had the Secret Service in my house and asked me, did I still plan on scaling the White House fence? I'm like, bro, if you couldn't observe for yourself, right? I'm a middle-aged white guy. Number one, white guys can't fucking jump. Oh, I don't want to go too far into those. But we know white men can't jump. Most of us. You got a few out there that are phenoms. They're naturals. But most of us, like me, I get like 2 inches off the fucking floor. If I wasn't tall, man, somebody said, hey, you're going to have to jump up there to get that. Nope, not this guy. Can't do it. I got friends everywhere. Everywhere. I'd love to know where all 35 of you are from, actually. I'd like to know where you're all from. I got to get some of my UK and Australian folks over here. I know Joseph Wayne, he's over in Australia. He became one of my supporters on Patreon here the other day. Another dad, he's from America, but living in Australia. Fucked in the family courts. Hasn't seen his kids in years. And you would think with the agreement that we have with the Australian people that this guy would be seeing his kids. Come on, man. It's just common sense. It's just good human decency to not do this to other people. Detroit in the house. Newton Jamal, I got to connect you to my boy, George. Hold on. You got to know George, Jamal. He was one of my sailors. Good dude. I'm going to connect you. Newton Jamal, you need to know my buddy George in Detroit. And you need to tell him Cash Jackson sent you. Hold on. In fact, all of you can. I don't care. You can go tell him. I sent you. Paul Anderson. Nope. You are not shadow banned, buddy. You're popping up right now. We read you loud and clear on the Underground Network of working class men and women. Coming to you live from Northwest Louisiana. I'm here to you. Hold on a second. I'm going to get it. Oh, there it is. All right. This is my buddy. Don't go weird him out. George Vaughn, come on, Martin Jr. There he is. All right. Jamal, go over there and send George a message. Tell him Cash Jackson says hello. He'll know exactly who you're talking about. Tell him I sent you. If you're a creeper or weirdo, do not go over there and bother my good buddy George. All right? Don't go bother him. Don't be a douche in society, okay? He's a good guy. He's doing great things up there. 42 shares. Look at this. I just clicked on my page. Shows. That's funny. Weirdo. Say, there was at one time, see the 42 shares? Look at that, 420 comments. Screenshot that. Hold on. Oh, man. I just screenshot that shit. That's awesome. Well, I'll toast to that. 420 comments. 420. Again, this is an adult show, not for kids. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cover Johnny Rotten Crotch's eyes and go. What's awesome is now I get to watch that happen on my screen because it's delayed. That's so funny. All right. There he goes. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it's delayed. Look at that. By a bunch. Look at that. That's crazy how delayed it is. Fucking weirdo. Too much glare. I know it. Well, helps keep some of us sane, at least those of us who recognize the world is batshit crazy. Newton, I need you to tell all of your veteran network, family, friends to join Cash Jackson and the War is Hell. I don't want to say podcast, right? Because it's not even a podcast, actually. It's a show. It's a fucking show. That's what it is. It's not a real show. It's just, I don't know, we're hanging out. Pretty soon I'll have my own studio. I'll be fancy, swinging up there with the big boys. Get my own studio, small town America. I just don't know though how I'm gonna get them Republicans to stop frowning on me for smoking weed. Damn Democrats want to call me a goddamn pot smoking Republican. It's bullshit. And a Republican. Fuck. Corporate welfare. Bullshit. Get a multi-million-dollar farmer down there. All them goddamn tax subsidies. Think I get that shit? Fuck no. All I got's a few rows of lavender and some goddamn chickens. I don't get all them subsidies. Ain't subsidized shit for me and my kind. Hell. Republican, pot smoking Republican, my ass. Goddamn Democrat don't know what he is neither. Some bitch. You done got the letter string done stretched out from here to Egypt. LGBTQRSTUNV. All the way to the ANZ on the DNG. All damn Democrat don't know fucking shit from Cheyenne. You can't tell me that he does. He's confused as fuck. I don't know them goddamn white boy Democrats do it. I don't know how they do it, honestly. I mean, it's like being in a domestic violent relationship. Get your ass whooped. Fuck, man, you white man in the Democratic Party? Woo, straight Christian? Woo. Bro, I don't know if you got no ball or if you got no balls or no brains. I mean, oh shit. You might as well submerge your head right on down there in that goddamn white porcelain throne that I pray to every fuck Saturday. Okay? And I go down to the VFW and I have too goddamn many of them natural lights. I gotta come back and I just see it. Oh, I'm just purging out my military service down there is all I see it. What's that on that baby's head in that there picture there? Joshua Atwood Station? Atwood Station. Joshua. That ain't right kind of you there, boss. Come on my platform there and insult me the way you did. Is that what your mama taught you? You just go in people's houses, you just open up the door and fucking walk on in and insult people? What a shit stain. I reckon your mama got slapped a bunch, didn't she? After she had you, I mean. She was probably a real nice lady before you, and then things just went to shit. I can only imagine. Kindergartner teacher. I got old little Joshua Atwood Station down here. Had his finger jammed up both sides of his fucking nose. Like with them frog gigs. Sticking at his brain. Your poor mama. Your poor mama. Nobody ever thinks about the poor mama that has a dumb child like Joshua Atwood Staten. I don't think he stuck around. I was waiting for him to comment, honestly. Maybe he signed off after he insulted me and then run away. It's one of the most common traits of beta men. They run into somebody's front door, they toss their little shit-stained comment, and then they run out. Moron. I'm a laid back guy, man. I don't take life so seriously. Right? Yeah, get him to follow. Well, you follow me right here. We're developing across all of our other platforms, all of our other Facebook pages, Instagram. I got to go in and rename the YouTube one. I've got so much work to do, just a lot of cleaning up. CJ's been calling it the War is Hell or War is Hell podcast. I say it's not a podcast. I say it's a show. I guess, podcast is popular these days. But I like having a show. I like talking to folks. Oh, it's one of my buddies right there, Matthew Walter. Check that shit out. Look at that. One of my buddies up there in Illinois. I told you, man, I got a huge network. I know people everywhere. Joining me in Patreon opens up that access to you, right? Because it gives you more direct access to me. Because the Facebook shit, I'm shutting down, right? It's just been an endless. I love being able to help people and do things for people, but the endless supply or the request for assistance. I'm only one guy, and I can't, and it eats at my time 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And wanting to stay in this fight, right? I'm being intentional about investing more in those who invest in me. So that's what I'm doing. And slowly but surely, I will move completely away from Facebook. I would rather be on Patreon and get so these shows I'm going to begin doing on Patreon and no longer on Facebook. So therefore, Facebook can no longer capitalize off of me and mine to the degree that they have. And while I invest countless hours in this platform and building this platform, they spend countless hours in censoring my content and others like mine. And so we're going to use that free market initiative and go elsewhere. So it's transitional. But there will be times where we're broadcasting through StreamYard across all of these platforms. But inside the Patreon location, that's where I'm going to build relationships with people that are investing in me. And yeah, Amber asked a good question. I'll put it up here in just a second. I think that I can put it up. Let's see here. See if I can get it on here. Give me a second. I know what cast means. I think I can. Yeah, so the Patreon account is definitely one in which you have several different memberships there, right? And they range from $3 up to $25 for the memberships. One of the worst parts about having to do what we do is having the knowledge that we have to fund the war, right? And this war that's transpiring against us has not allowed for us to have a voice as loud as what we want, right? This is an opportunity to grow our platform, and it is ours, right? It is to the degree that you share with me and you share with others what I'm talking about and discussing. So it is our platform, because a lot of what you say, what you bring here, is what I discuss, and it's what we work for solutions on, right? And we can all just talk about, or just randomly talk about issues, but we're spending a lot more time together really delving into how the system works. And I'm going to keep having this discussion to pick up more and more people. Yeah, right now it's so that old YouTube I created, it was Beyond These Walls podcast. I linked that to here. That was what I was initially going to call my podcast, and it just kind of took on a different life. And it just that one never came to fruition. So I'll be renaming the Beyond These Walls podcast to War is Hell, probably War is Hell podcast or War is Hell, whatever. CJ will come up with it. That's awesome that your boys watch with us. We do appreciate. Again, we put out the disclaimer that this is not for children, right? But we do leave it to parents to decide whether or not they want their kids to hear anything that I say, and knowing that we can have some pretty off-color, comments and remarks. But generally, you can tell if the conversation is kind of digressing down into a, let's say, more midnight type show. Generally, you're going to hear and kind of see that transition happen. It's not just out of the blue, as you could probably tell through most of this broadcast. That I don't know. I don't know if you can or not. But what you can do is you can be a paying member over there. And if the hard part that I had to resolve in myself is knowing that I'm asking people that I know that are in financially difficult situations to help me financially in what I'm doing, right? But I had to realize that all of the experiences that I had inside the courts, in traveling the country, and lobbying and fighting the system, it is valuable, right? I think people like Mark Ludwig have more value in their legislative knowledge and capacity. I think people like me have more, that I'm more of an asset because of my ability to network through the working class all across this country, and to communicate in a way that it really resonates with the working class, because it's where I'm from. It's where my family's all from. It's where they all still live and reside. And yeah, there we go. We're going to be a family, right? We've got a large family that's growing, and many of us are coming together more intentionally and spending that time together and putting something together that I've said that like 3 or 4 times. That's credit to this, right? This is part of the side effects of using cannabis. People think that there's no side effects, and there are, unfortunately. But they're less than what I would cope with otherwise. So forgive me. Yeah, so I think the $25 one, you can come right into the chat room. You can join the broadcast with us. You'll be able to at the $25 level be able to come in and hang out with us. And Patreon, what's cool about Patreon is that it holds you accountable to those supporting you, right? I have to spend time. It's mandatory, right? The program forces you to get back to your supporters and to respond to their messages. And so it's almost like a virtual assistant nearly, in that you have to be intentional in having those interactions, but it's on a positive level because they are supporting you. And in your mind, yeah, I need to get back to these people. They are supporting me. Unlike what I have to cope with in Facebook is having hundreds of messages, trying to get back to everyone, call everyone, message everyone back, and I never see anything in return. Right? It's just take, and I'm not blaming those people. That's how the platform is set up. I think Patreon is set up more so for content creators like me. I set myself apart because I'm not creating content that's just for rapid digestion and excrement. Okay, the material that I produce are for those that have a general knowledge or thirst for knowledge about the inner workings of state, local, and federal government, and how it is systemically stripping us of our rights, and what we need to do to bring ourselves together to regain those liberties, to take them back. And that's the network that's growing and building within my circle. So I'm investing in those that are investing in me, and that's how it goes. People are investing in me, and I'm investing in them, and that's how it's going to be from now until whenever. Robert knows. He's another friend of mine. He's a libertarian convert. I think that I'm not going to say that I brought him over to the Libertarian Party, but pretty certain somebody I'm associated with did. And anyways, good guy, Robert. He's up in New York as well, struggling in his own case, right? The people that I meet, I get to know them, right? I try to and make an intentional effort about recognizing them, who they are as a person, and that, you know, to me, it at least signifies enough that I'm taking the time to learn who you are. I might not remember your child's name or the specifics, but over time, I learn more and more, and I retain more and more about you and your families, and that's far more personal of a relationship in this content patron um, world that we're moving into. So I don't know if the Ben Shapiro's of the world or any of your popular podcasters, I don't know how much they do that, but people that support me, I end up inevitably traveling the country. I crash on their couch. I meet their families, and we have lunch together, and go do things together. And I've got a great family that I'm building. In the absence of my children that I would love to be with dearly, this is a fantastic second. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, I'll take it. Right? That if this is my family and this is what I get, along with my actual family down here, I'll take it. That's a life worth living. So, love you guys very much. Let me do this outro shit, man. It's quick. We're gonna make a longer one though. I want you to just be able to let the show wind down with a song. Well, you know what, Tammy? Again, I hope you guys give me a little bit of time uh, to learn that platform and the Patreon platform. Give me a little bit of time. I'll be trying. So you'll probably have to grow with me in that platform. It's brand new for me. So any of you that are going to join me over there and support me, it'll be brand new for you as well. And we can kind of learn from one another, and y'all can help me to figure out things that I might not know. And if there's things that you'd like to see or hear that I'm not discussing, well, let me know. And you don't have to stay. You know what I mean? You can always cancel. You can always walk away. It's not a that's going to help me to expand this a lot. I'll tell you that. The more this grows, the more that people come onto the show, and we have more guests. The produced ones will be Monday through Friday. Those will be, in my opinion, the better ones. Right? It's going to be more of this stuff right here, the more personal conversations and talks. I'm going to take off screen into Patreon to have a more personal, direct relationship with you, my family. I know it, but I enjoy talking to you guys. That's why this is why I was made to do it. I enjoy talking. Mama Jackson's been fast asleep for God knows how long, and so I've just been able to sit out here and talk and shoot the shit, and that's what family does, right? Well, it's always hard for family to leave and get out the door. That's it, right? You try and leave your mom or dad's house or somebody that you really enjoy seeing or spending time with. It takes me a while to exit. I do this at my brother's house or anywhere else. It take me 20 minutes to get out the door. It's a Southern thing, I think. I don't know. All right. War as hell. It's that 420 time. That's right, Adam. 420 time. Let me play. I'm going to go play, before we exit, I said I was going to do this for y'all. I'm going to play the other intro. I want you to give me some feedback or send it over to CJ. We're going to do this. Where'd that go? That's no, not that one. Clicked on the wrong one. That's happening. My attorney, Ted. Great guy. It's going to happen. All right. Let me go over here. I'm going to play you guys the other intro that I didn't play. It's about 4 or 5 minutes. And then I want you to give me or CJ some feedback. Tell us what you think. Too long, too short, would like to have some more. Keep doing those, keep producing them, or mix it up more. Our broadcast during the show is going to have like more videos incorporated, articles incorporated, brought up on the screen. It's a lot more interactive. And probably I've gotten a lot of applications from some very hot potential co-hosts. And I'm like, holy CJ, I didn't play the other one, the one with the sailor one. I didn't play that one. Yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm like stuck on it. It's like a brand new toy. For a content creator, it's like getting that brand new car. For the race driver, it's like, whoo, I got an upgrade. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm proud of it. You did a great job. It's awesome. It's cool. I bet a lot of people are jealous right now that I have that intro and you made it. And I get to brag about CJ Abernathy and what an amazing intro he's made and how he's going to make me a longer, awesome outro as well. However we're going to do that, I don't know. Paul Anderson says it's a bit long. Well, part of the reason for that, Paul, is I want you to take a look. How long have I been live? 3 hours and 6 minutes. Mentally, having that, it kind of prepares people. Look, this is not for those who want a quick consumption and excrement of information. This show is for the niche of people that want to have longer, more meaningful, thought-provoking discussion. And if you can't sit through a 4 or 5 minute awesome intro, a really cool fucking intro, if you can't sit through that, or if you're not, I don't know, smart enough to just set it down and walk away, know you got enough time to get your coffee, smoke a cigarette, use the bathroom, and then come back about the time the intro is done. Man, I don't know what to tell you. All right, this wouldn't be the place for you anyway. Yeah, I agree with Catherine here. I think that it gives people a real sense of who I am as a person. And I agree. That's a great way to say it. It gives people just a great way to learn who I am. Get a little insight. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it takes me a while to absorb things. I got to hear shit 100 times and do it, and All right, let's play this shit. I'm gonna play it. Let me find this image. What I don't know is there's one that says intro. I think it's this other one. I think this is it.
Born by freedom won, yet held in precarious station. Set upon defense and sealed his will to guard and protect his new nation. So he resolved to find of all who would challenge his right to be free. With a swift sailing vessel and 10 carriage guns to hunt the world's oceans and seas. Born to go into harm's way, from all ye hell or high waters be damned. No lightning, no thunder, nor hurricane hail can stand in the face of his wrath. Beneath his enemy's feet, like cloud where the gates cannot grow. To the life and rise, every last man shall shake to the core of his soul.
For submerged operation by OpScan 48Tech 18, you're part of the myself. Sounding as 1385 fathoms beneath the keel. keel and checks with chart. I am verified that my water team is ready to start the ship. I intend to support the ship for 1
Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in the fire lit on